One of the worst things about online dating is that it takes about 4 weeks to have a conversation that would normally only take about 10 minutes on the phone. Because someone will message you and you'll message right back, right? Because you're interested or, you're talking. And then it takes them about a week to message you back. Oh, sorry, I'm like never on here. Or like whatever their excuse is. It's like, then get off of the app. If you don't want to talk to people, get off the app. Because at this point, I might as well say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. By the time we talk again, it's going to be 2026.
It takes them weeks because they're talking to other women. She's not the only one that they're talking to.
Dating after divorce is the most complicated thing ever. There's talking stages, there's dating stages, there's...
These women that married young, they have no idea how good they have it and how much worse it's going to be on the dating market. Because they're probably the baddest at their high school. Because a lot of the women that married young, I mean, they were the first round draft pick in high school, but now you're going to be the last round draft pick in the city.
Women like that assume they'll always get attention regardless of their age, and that is a mistake. Many of these women find this out the hard way, especially after they divorce their husbands or leave their long-term boyfriends.
So y'all know I was one of those girls that was on on Kevin Samuels' show, and I'm 52 now. I was 48, and he said I was almost 50 and I was old news. And y'all, guess what? I still ain't found nobody yet. I still have not found a man, and I keep trying to look younger and younger and younger. And I know I don't look like I'm in my 50s, so what is it? Can you help me out? What is it? What's the fucking word?
Kevin Samuels, as always here, was pretty much right on the money. She just refuses to accept basic reality.
Okay, gentlemen. So questions. So what is date etiquette nowadays? So is date etiquette that we meet you somewhere, that we go for drinks, cup of coffee, and that's what you consider a date? Or is date, you come and get us, we go to a nice dinner, we get to know each other? Or is date coffee and a walk in the park? What is date etiquette nowadays?
Date is just a nonsense word that describes men who are being used to relieve boredom at this point, nothing more.
One of my biggest rules for dating after divorce is that you must have a hoe era. You have to date around. You have to try out a lot of different people. First of all, it's going to make you feel really free. After being in the confines of a marriage for many, many years, probably going with your needs being unmet, it feels amazing to step outside and have little to no commitment. Secondly, you really do have to find out what you don't like in order to figure out what you do like.
If you need to have a 304 error after divorce to quote-unquote find out what you like, then all hope is already lost. And again, this is why men don't want to date these women, okay? They return to the dating market after being divorced, and every dude knows to just stay away from that.
And that's why I say you should date all types of men. Date the young ones, date the old ones, date the tall ones, date the short ones, date men with all different kinds of jobs, date men from every walk of life. And you just never know. You might find a connection where you never thought you would. That happened to me. I never thought I would be with a younger man. And now I have had a partner for 1.5 years who's 9 years younger than me. And it's the best relationship I've ever been in. And I never thought that would happen. And it wouldn't have happened if I hadn't opened my mind up to the possibilities of dating all different types of people. So that's what I mean when I say you need to have a hoe era when you're dating after divorce. Date around. You might end up in a relationship, but for sure you will have a lot of fun along the way.
1.5 years isn't a long time for a relationship in the grand scheme of things. It only counts if it lasts multiple decades, in my opinion.
Please explain to me why men are so threatened by a woman that is not desperate for a man. Why does it bother you so much?
In answer to someone's question, most men, in fact, have no desire at all to be in any kind of relationship with a desperate woman, because desperation just reeks of insecurity, and insecurity in many cases often leads to toxicity in relationships.
Men have never once said that they are intimidated by a woman who isn't desperate. That's not real, okay? Men in general have never described being intimidated by a woman for the most part.
And any person, whether it be a man or a woman who is confident and comfortable in themselves, wants to stay as far away from toxic relationships as possible. Although I noticed that someone didn't actually wait for an answer to the question. See this. One particular phrase there really stuck out because I have been noticing it being used by some women as a way to apparently try to shame men. It's that confident women don't intimidate real men. But I would be curious to hear how many women can actually define what a real man actually is.
Modern women are not really qualified to talk about what makes a quote unquote real man. Every time they talk about what a quote unquote real man is, it's never actually something that's true. It's usually just something that benefits them. You know, like, oh, a real man is a man who pays a woman's bills. Like, no, that's just what you want a real man to be. That's what you're trying to manipulate men into doing.
2026. I'm 50 years old and newly divorced. Here's my take on things I won't be doing my dating life going forward. So, number one's going to be I'm not offering to pay half of that bill, especially if you asked me out. Hell to the no. I'm not even pulling out my wallet. You pick up that tab. You asked me out. You need to be the man. I need a man in his masculine energy, provider type.
A man who leads with his wallet is not a masculine provider type. She just won't respect him whatsoever. She'll probably end up cheating on him, and that's usually the way it goes.
That's just what I prefer. I want to be feminine. I will cook for you. I will do all the things if you do your manly roles. Also, if we've had 2 dates and you want to lock me down already, as in, I've had 2 dates and now we're going to delete the dating apps and it's just going to be you and me. Sir, I don't even know you. I don't think so. I will also not teach a grown man how to treat me, how to pursue me as a woman.
If your selling points all start with I will not, then the only thing to do is invest in cat food at that point.
You're the man, you're the pursuer, I'm the pursuee. You're not texting me and I'm not feeling that, and I have to tell you that I'm not hearing from you and your communication is lacking, and you respond to me with, well, it goes both ways. You can text me or call me anytime when I'm barely hearing from you all day. Hell to the no. Nope, gone.
Luckily for her, no man will ever talk to her that way, and the reason is because men don't actually want to talk to her. So many of these women forget that men actually have the ability to
I love it. La 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 la.
all we hear is if an older man gets into a relationship with someone younger, then apparently
This is the new mic. You're gonna have to tell me how it sounds, yeah.
guys and they're considered strong and independent, going
Let us see. Let us see. Oh, that sounds fine. Oh, well now. More tinny. It's louder too. How's that sound? Is that better? La 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 la. Hmm. How's this sound? How's this sound? Oh, that's too loud. Alright, how's that? Yeah, the highs are too high. Probably do something like that. This is probably it. Alright, I think this is good, yeah?
Offer what they want, a cougar, whatever the language happens to be.
Let's see how this woman talks about dating in her 50s. Hi, guys. Can we just talk about dating in your 50s? You have any tips for me? Please let me know. Because I can't take it. Everyone's out of their mind. Out of their mind. Yeah, because it's everyone that's left over.
Here's a professional tip for you, okay? And the tip is don't date if you're in your 50s. That's the only tip that could possibly help you. You shouldn't be dating in your 50s.
I feel working out with your ex-husband, man. All right, here's another woman dating in her 50s. To chat about dating in your 50s. I feel like there are two types of people. There are the people who date because they love to go out, because they're super social, because they just enjoy going out for a nice meal. And then there are the people who date with intention. I fall into the second. Can you imagine dating a 50-year-old woman with intention? Like, what intention? The world's almost dead. Like, we got like 10 years left. What is the second half of life that we're planning? Do you know what I mean? Like, at that point, I mean, I would just take marriage off the table.
Alright, is this sound okay? Does everything look alright? I think...
Intention is to find a guy to keep her from being bored. That's about it.
I think it's a game. You let me know there.
Yes, it is true. Generally speaking, men are attracted to younger women. That's nothing new whatsoever for anyone who has any degree of common sense.
Talking about Love Island? Aha, that's fucking hilarious. Well, I was gonna say, hopefully everything's set up properly, but we'll see.
I'll let you do whatever with your character. You can look however you want. When it comes to
Video's way too quiet. Let us see. How's that? How's this? It's not much louder. Oh shit.
poisoned. And then Jalen did it. Why you niggas? Oh, that's trying. You niggas are stupid.
I'm gonna go for it. I'm a real.
Oh, Malik started the cutscene.
Yeah.
So this is Malik.
Hear me shout, come get it, don't you simmer down right now. Want you acting like you in the wild. Don't stop, give me no doubts. Let me know what you want. Seek me out, hear me shout, come get it, don't you simmer down right now. Want
I'm gonna do this on my phone.
every mother, every child.
I'm so sorry. Fuck me. For a second it was great, yeah, I bet. Oh, it was just really loud for me. Maybe your headphones had that sound gating.
You're the only refuge now for every mother, every child, every brother that's caught in the crossfire. That's caught in the crossfire.
Can you stay here, man? How's these? Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Alright, if you want anything up or down, I think I fixed at least how to move them up and down now. So if you want me louder at any point, or you want the desktop louder or quieter. You still have to have the phone all the way up? Alright, give me a sec.
So heaven, if you sent us down, so we can build a playground for the sinners to play as saints. You'd be so proud of what we made. I hope you got some beds around.
Can you still hear me?
Cause you're the only refuge now for every mother and every child, every brother that's caught in the crossfire.
Yeah, good. Oh, I think I can turn this mic up as well. Let's see. La 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 la. Mic is okay? Okay. Alright, we'll wait till the music kicks back in here.
Just is rising, yeah, I'm counting my breaths. 1, 2, 3. Got my demons singing songs in my head. Do, re, mi. Making friends with the monsters underneath my bed, hoping that they don't
Alright,
leave
if
me
music's
for
okay and
dead.
mic's okay, I'll leave it there. But you let me know.
Down to sleep. Hope someone's watching over me. Pray the Lord my soul to keep. 'Cause I'm living in a nightmare. Living in a skeletons in my closet come alive, haunting me. I'm wired. faked that, the type of girl that bites back. HD and deadly, one sip of me, you lost your mind. Your weak mind. I'm a nightmare to daydream. I elevate where you could be. I'm charming, not easy. But
Oh yeah, perfect. You hear me talk over somebody else, Anna?
Being called high maintenance equals being called hot.
You're wrong. High maintenance does not correlate with hot. It correlates with headache.
Chief Keef, this is your last chance. Otherwise, I'm gone forever. You have 10 minutes to let me know.
I didn't think it was so funny. I thought it was disrespectful.
I don't hate men, but I don't think there's a worse feeling than going to a yoga class and having a man put his mat next to yours.
Women can say all of this stuff all the time and they get applauded.
I was just dating a super nice guy for the last 3.5 years, and I cheated on him nonstop.
He thought something real was going on, and she's
He's on it.
using him, probably because he was a doormat.
Stop having kids. Go get an abortion. Everybody should get an abortion.
So this is vile. What is this about? This is about... Hello, everyone. Welcome to a brand new episode. Ooh, the winter is passing in Texas. It's like a minute long, and hence I have returned to bliss. So here we are. We have a great show for you today. I love how you say we. We have a great show. I have a great show. It's only me. It's just me. Lonely little me and the plants that won't grow. So it's going to be a fun show. Amazing clips. 5 clips. Thank you all for tuning in advance. And newbies, you're in for a fun ride. All right, let's do it. Number 1, high maintenance women. Do y'all date them? Stop doing that. Here's why.
Stop doing that. You fucking animals.
Okay, this might be a weird thing for me, but I feel like being called high maintenance equals being called hot. Like when I hear, like if there's 2 people talking about something, they're like, this person's low maintenance and this person's high maintenance. I would automatically in my mind think that the high maintenance person is attractive and the low maintenance person isn't attractive. And I need to know, am I valid for this thought? Or is that just like something that people would consider like completely separate to that person's physical appearance? Because I just assume you're high maintenance, you're attractive. I think of like a level of attractiveness to that kind of thing and nothing else. Even though technically it's not representative of that, but that's how I picture it. Am I wrong? Tell me.
You're wrong. So let's start off with clip 1 with her being wrong. How do you know? No. Okay, high maintenance. First of all, high maintenance girls are usually a pain in the ass. Can we all just acknowledge that, right? We talk about the long pointy nails. We talk about the excessive makeup, right? The lashes that look like they're about to just like grab you in some sort of grotesque horror film like spider web. We talk about how sometimes guys, you go home with these girls for a one-night stand. You shouldn't do that, by the way, but you do,
You
right?
shouldn't
And then you
do
wake up
that.
next morning, the makeup's all smeared off, and you look, you're like, oh God, like, you know, it's like a horror film just unfolding before your eyes. So high maintenance. Here's the thing: women don't like to acknowledge this, but really attractive women who are confident and simple, girl next door type women, they don't need all the stuff. Okay. They don't do all this stuff because they don't need all the stuff because they just look really good without it. Right.
Facts,
and
like
their
my
appeal
cutie.
is that guys know that if they spend the night and then you roll over and the next morning and you look at them, it looks like the same person, right? It's not a costume party the night before and a horror film the next day. Also, they're not going to be like getting their nails and doing this. Like they tend to prioritize the right things, right? They tend to be sweeter in personality. They tend to be just more loving, more good-natured, less worried about crap, right? Your makeup, your hair. It's just a whole bunch of nonsense, really. I'm not saying you can't, groom yourself, right? Get a haircut. I'm not talking about, you're a slob. I'm talking about just spending boatloads of money. Because high maintenance is, your Botox at 21 because there's paranoia. Oh my God, I might age. Oh, there's the constant hair dye, the long pointy rear, there's all the stuff, right? Which then they expect you to pay for, right? And then there's this prioritization of materialistic things that usually accompanies that. There's a prioritization of, intense vanity and what comes with that. There's usually like a deep-seated insecurity in there if you got to do all this stuff. So high maintenance does not correlate with hot. It correlates with headache. Okay. And really, honestly, if you're at your core, like an attractive woman who just, you usually just don't need all the stuff. I'm just saying, right? A lot of the people looking for all the stuff and needing all the stuff are because either they're really insecure, right? And they're trying to like, fix that, or they're just not that good looking and they're trying to embellish, basically with layers of filtration, right? It's like the Paris filter, but only with like the eyelashes and the hair extensions and all the crazy stuff, right? I remember going to, oh man, I remember hanging out in Florida. We lived in Florida for a short time. Florida's great, by the way, but we lived in Fort Lauderdale area, which I don't recommend. Not my cup of tea, but we lived over there and we hung out with a couple. And I remember we went out like one afternoon and, she's all done up, and it's like glitz and glam. And she had long hair and I was like, oh, it looks like Rapunzel. I was like, what's going on there? The makeup was like the eyelashes, the nails had just been painted. And, when they do the French manicure and the white tip is just like this thick because the nail, it was just, glitter, the body glitter. And I was like, it's the middle of the day. Like I had my son with me. I looked like this. I'm like, ooh, it's apparently the club. Are we in Miami at like 2 a.m.? Anyway, and I guess I don't know why she got all decked out. The next day we went and hung out again by their pool. And I remember approaching and seeing, I didn't know it was her. All the stuff was gone. Her hair was like here. I was like, it was like the fraction of the length, right? The nails were still there, mind you. The eyelashes were gone. The makeup was gone. And I was like, it was just a completely different human, personality-wise too. It's almost like she literally took off a Halloween costume, and the character left too. So guys, just beware. Also, ladies, if you don't know that high maintenance correlates with headache, you need to like sit and self-reflect. Guys, don't go for high maintenance women, even if they look good in the club at 3 o'clock in the morning. Don't pick them because they will A, drain your funds on a bunch of bull. B, they're probably insecure as all hell and they're going to constantly need validation. These are the women who need the validation from outside of you, right? Because it's never enough attention because they're trying to fill a hole of insecurity. And C, they're just prioritizing the wrong things, right? They're prioritizing all of this external materialistic bullcrap, right? Find yourself a girl next door. I'm glad this making me work take because it loves you and who doesn't need all this stuff, and who's probably hotter. Highly recommended because she's, not needing all the stuff. Just saying. It doesn't. So bottom line is, honey, you were wrong. High maintenance doesn't correlate with hot. What do we say? Correlates with headache. Y'all know it's true. Today's show is brought to you by someone. Listen, some of y'all are buying the olive oil. And I got 2 messages today.
Oh my God. Well, I don't know who you are, but I'll probably never watch you again. Just how it is, lass.
Oh, what?
Well, go check him out, guys. He's a great guy, super fun. What's that?
I did some research and found out you're a big gamer.
I'm a big video gamer.
All right, so what do you play?
Right now, I'm pretty in deep, man. I'm playing a game called Stellar Blade, which is this Japanese game, sort of like anime style. Do you know games? Do you know like Devil May Cry? Do you know that game?
Slash 'em.
It's like that.
So slash it.
It's like a slash 'em up.
Yeah.
Red Dead Redemption. This guy.
Did you play Elden Ring?
I found it too hard. Did you get into it?
You beat the whole thing.
You did? Okay.
No,
so
but no.
give me
But,
tips.
okay.
I need.
No. I'll tell you. Okay. You're not a grinder though.
I am.
Yeah. Well,
it just didn't click for me. Make it click for me because that's the thing. I used to play Tony Hawk 2, and I would literally try the same. I had a run mapped out, a 40-second run to get the highest score possible on that. And I would sit there, start, restart, and I'd look over and 4 hours had gone.
Yeah. That's what Elden Ring's like.
I want that.
All right. So okay, good. So like, there's this thing called the Fire Giant. That's later in the game, right? And it took me, I'm not kidding you, 8 days to kill him. And I'm talking about like 7 hours. It's physically you go and then you're blocked off this area, and he's a gigantic, right? And like 2 hits, you're dead, right? So you're trying to figure out what ledge to crouch. Oh, that didn't work. I'm on fire. You know what I mean? How running in circles. You know what I mean? And then he does something where he lays on his stomach, and fire comes out of his stomach. So you can't. What's so funny? You know what I'm talking about, right? And then you're like, oh, I'm too close, and you're on fire, you die, right? And it took me 8 days, but when you do kill him,
that feeling,
you go, you're out by yourself, right? Naked by yourself.
Naked,
you know what I mean?
as you
It's
do.
fucking 3 in the morning. And you go,
Wait, are you still at the Hyatt at the orgy?
no. So, but I'm now more leaning toward cozy games like Stardew Valley.
Yeah, my wife plays Stardew Valley a lot. She loves
It's a
it.
masterpiece.
Emily and I are also playing a Paper Mario game together called Thousand Year Door. Before this, I played Alan Wake 2, which I thought was fantastic.
Okay. What console do you play it on?
I play mostly PS5, but I
PS5.
have a Switch and an Xbox too.
You do, yeah.
Yeah,
I have both too.
Yeah. You should. Alan Wake 2 is really good.
Okay.
I'm excited about this new Star Wars game that just came out.
I heard it's not good.
It looks so good, though.
Yeah, it looks good though. It's
Yeah.
open world, I heard.
It's open world.
Yeah. Did you play Skyrim at all?
That's maybe my favorite game of all
Me
time.
too.
Skyrim might be my number
And
one.
the DLCs are great.
Oh my god.
Right?
Yeah, Dragonborn.
Dragonborn was good. The
werewolf one?
The werewolf, I don't think one was a DLC.
Wasn't it?
No, it's the companions, right? And you go to Whiterun.
I've done all the
Yeah, and then you
Bobby's
have the
such a
option to
gamer.
become a werewolf. But I couldn't really kill a lot with the werewolf vibe.
Yeah, it's sort of like they added it to be cool, but it doesn't quite work.
And then you could also turn into a vampire.
Yeah.
DLC,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
But
That's
then
the
you're
one
like
I'm thinking.
flapping around. It's not my
doesn't
thing.
quite work.
Yeah.
Well, for
but,
me,
but I became though. What I love about what's so funny?
No, keep going.
Yeah. But my favorite part of the Skyrim is the DLC is Heart Home or something like that. It's where you can buy
Heart and
property.
home.
You can buy property and then you build your own house.
That's all he does in
He
Fallout
loves.
is build houses.
Yeah. I love building houses and stuff, right?
Yeah, okay.
But it's like, and then your kids would live there.
Yeah.
Right? And then, your wife and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I remember.
We all play fantasy games for different reasons. Living out different kinds of fantasies.
I know, but I would go collect like wooden swords.
Yeah.
Or dolls.
You go up at the store with new material.
Yeah. But I would bring my kids, you know what I mean? And also give them like a big allowance.
Are you?
Well, because they go, Daddy, you know what I mean? I go, here's whatever the 7,000, whatever.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, thank you, the little thing,
Yeah.
thank you, or whatever.
And your little
But
guys
yeah,
are lactose intolerant.
But I was a big Fallout guy. I like Bethesda game. Did you play Starfield?
Starfield.
Yeah, how is that? I heard it wasn't that good. I was so excited. For
I like it.
Yeah.
No, wait, what'd you hear?
I just when it first came out, the reviews weren't good.
It plays like, a Bethesda game. So, like,
Yeah.
it feels like Skyrim in terms of the movement and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
And I found designing your own ship
Okay.
really fun.
Okay.
Like, colorizing it.
Well, you go to a bunch of different planets, right?
There's 1,000 planets you can visit.
And do they all feel distinct and real?
No, there's probably 8 different types of bases
Mix and
that
match.
it'll just mix and match.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess you're right.
No, but I just never played it. I was so excited
You
for
would
it.
love. I think you would like it.
My favorite series of games is Mass Effect. I think that's
Dude,
the
there
best
was one
one
Mass
I've played.
Effect. I know there was one Mass Effect where you can go and I know you guys are bored, but
No, we're not. This is riveting.
But there was one Mass Effect. I don't know which one it was.
lying.
And she's lying, completely lying to my face. Where you can scan planets.
Yeah, of
I remember
course.
that one.
Yeah, you got to mine and
You
get
mine. I like anything there's mining. That's why I like Star.
You like grinding.
I like grinding.
All right.
Yeah. So anyway, that
Love
was a great game,
grinding.
Mass Effect.
Well, I want to get into Elden Ring because for me, the fantasy world is my favorite genre. Like I love space stuff, obviously, but since I was a kid, my favorite movies are Lord of the Rings. I used to love like all the sword and sorcery movies that were there in the 80s and 90s. So I want to play like a great fantasy game.
I'll tell you. Let me pitch Elden Ring then. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bosses, and some of them are very difficult, but their drops are great.
Okay.
Right. So I got this cool sword. Right.
Yeah.
And then here's another thing is that there are just areas on the map you just know you can't go, and so you work toward strengthening your ability to even go to that land.
See, that was what was challenging for me was I was like, but I want to go there, and I go there and I get killed, and I just get frustrated, and I try and get there over and over.
What's crazy is in the beginning of the fucking game, when you first leave,
That's what I mean.
there's a guy on a horse,
Yeah.
and he's completely gold, a gigantic guy,
Yeah.
and no one tells you. I said hello, you know what I mean? You got it, right?
You don't fight that guy.
You can't fight that guy until like 6 months later.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what confused me because I've never
Yeah.
played a game like that where it's so.
But it's so fulfilling, and it's so beautiful. And there's some moments where you're just in a swamp, right? And you're on your horse.
It's beautiful.
Right? And you're just sitting there, and it's dark.
Yeah.
Right? and you see the little, the fireflies.
Yeah.
Right? You hear that tweet, 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 right?
I'm learning you love in all these fantastical games the most mundane things, like
Well, you
giving
live
your
in the.
kids allowance. And,
Well, I have one word for that. I'm mindful.
yeah.
Mindful,
are.
mindfulness in
mindful
video
of my
games. I like it.
You're almost.
And give Camille a round of applause, everybody.
Make sure you check out Only Murders in the Building season 4.
Hilarious, Bobby. Oh no, now it's gonna give me a bunch of Elden Ring bullshit because we spoke it aloud.
And I'm trying to be nice here, but I can't. To me, that's racism.
Apparently, I'm officially a racist now. Where does
I could have told you that,
race even
motherfucker.
enter into this conversation?
For free.
People like you, conservatives, who want to attack African Americans in a sense, or at least show bias.
African Americans.
Well, you're talking about DEI hire. You're talking about how kids wearing baggy pants, the sky is falling.
This is not about baggy pants. This is about something more extreme. The pants below the buttocks. Perhaps a teardrop tattoo. You see Lil Wayne parting through the fog. Do you do anything differently?
I'm going to probably subconsciously behave differently. Is it dark
wrong.
out?
That's wrong.
Why is that wrong?
Because you have to have reasonable or articulable suspicion that somebody's committed a crime.
We're not talking about arresting someone or searching their house. I'm just crossing the street.
I don't even know what that means. What if someone's
If I
wearing?
just cross the street to avoid a kid with his pants sagged?
That's not against the law. As
I
long
never
as you're
said
not.
it was, but is that wrong?
Yes, it is wrong to treat somebody different.
How's
just
that treating
because
them differently? Why do I not have the freedom to act accordingly based on my rational thinking?
This is a perfect example of this thing we're hearing often now, suicidal empathy.
People navigate the world based on past experiences, patterns.
So because somebody dresses differently than you,
Not dressing differently. Why does
Yes,
the kid wearing his... I've encountered this
if I wear my
so
hat
many
like
times.
The whole point is that this is mimetic. You turning your hat sideways is not mimetic. That's not a meme that has spread through a culture.
That's
if
not
I
what
wear-
we're talking about.
if
That
I
looks
wear my hat-
ridiculous. There's not a mimetic pattern behind you wearing your hat like that. I've never seen anyone wear a hat like that. I have seen kids with their pants dangling below their butt, and it indicates something. It indicates a larger pattern of behavior. And you're telling me that if I pay attention to that pattern, I am morally wrong for using my rational pattern recognition.
Yeah, because there's no stats that you can provide that would say if you're dressing with baggy pants, that means that there's a better chance that you're committing a crime. So I'm, as law enforcement, I'm going to treat you.
I'm not pulling up stats when I make that decision. I'm basing it based on my past experiences, given the people I've worked with, the kids I've encountered.
According to your logic, it is only moral if I have stats to back up my decision.
So based on that theory, if black people as a whole commit more crime than white people, should they be treated differently?
I'm going to treat the kid wearing the pants in that way differently. That has nothing to do with what you just said, and you still haven't told me why he's wearing his pants like that.
I was talking to Steven Crowder about this, and he pointed out the same thing. He got very upset by that. The audience got very upset, and it became this whole thing about Warren being racist over baggy pants, even though I wasn't talking about baggy pants. I was talking about
mimicking
pants,
prison culture where you have beltless
exactly.
pants.
Yeah. But they're not wearing their pants differently because they're trying to commit a crime or they want to be
I
a
never
thug.
said they were.
Okay, but there are all sorts of different reasons why people.
I just acknowledged that. I told you about how many of my students were trying to fit in and cosplaying this gang culture. They would go home and they'd be like the opposite when they were home. They would come in and act like they were these little gangsters, these little hard kids, and they were completely like the opposite when no one was looking. I understand it can be faked, but what are they signaling?
Point is that there is a larger culture surrounding the specific meme. And to be clear, I never said I absolutely would, but I might. And just saying I might and that wouldn't be irrational is enough to be accused of being a racist.
And I think what you're doing isn't irrational.
How is it
Because
irrational?
you're trying to make a connection between somebody that's wearing baggy pants and they must be gangbangers or they admire
that.
Well, I thought that's what you just said. You said you taught some kids, and I don't know what the sample is.
Why do people wear their pants like that?
Because they like the way it looks like. Why do people wear hats? Why do
they
people
like where
wear
it looks like? Okay. Where does it come from?
So every single person you're saying that wears, or the majority that wear baggy pants admire gang members and violence? Is that what
I literally just told you about the kids that have no idea. They're just cosplaying. They're just trying to fit in and be cool.
And how many kids did you speak to? Out of all the kids in this country, how many kids did you speak to?
How many would be adequate? How many would I need to speak to, Brian? What does that have to do with anything that I'm saying?
That claim that they do it because they want to be gangbangers or they admire gangbangers. How many kids did you teach? How many kids did you talk to?
Kids don't really communicate in that way. Like if you were to ask, they're not going to tell you, yeah, I want to be a gangbanger. It's like, but you observe who they're hanging out with, the patterns, how they're behaving in the class, in between classes. They're getting in trouble on the weekends. You hear about it. Again, this goes back to rational thinking.
Donald Trump, you support Donald Trump?
I voted for him.
I know you, well, of course.
Over Kamala Harris.
Why? Why is that? It's because
we had a whole conversation about this. I think that was the rational move in that moment.
I mean,
I took the data of what I was seeing. I thought, what has the most potential? It could go awry. There's going to be downsides to both.
It has nothing to do with the color of Kamala's skin at all. None. Zero.
Wow. Why would you think that?
Real quick, the sponsor of this video is for guys who are feeling sluggish, less motivation, a shadow of your former self, and it could be tied to hormones.
I know. As I get older, my T will drop.
And blokes, get your edge back.
I don't think it's rational. I completely
very worried
disagree
about
with you.
it
I think
in
there are
like 2
plenty of
years.
kids that dress very nicely and they might wear a shirt and tie and they also behave poorly and they do some very bad things as well. There's a lot of some of the biggest criminals in American history are white people that looked like they were. Scott Peterson, for example, is a perfect example of what I'm
talking about. Never said gangbangers are the only people who commit crimes, but we're talking about a subset of culture, a specific cultural phenomenon.
I don't believe in society we should treat people differently. And I'm talking about law enforcement.
At a policy level, I agree with you.
Okay,
but kid with the pants should get the same treatment under the law. I agree with you. But I, as an individual, I'm going to cross the street.
Okay, well, we were talking about law enforcement. I can tell you, me personally, I'm not crossing the street because I see somebody wearing baggy pants. I think that's
it's up to you.
I think that's a little overboard there. I don't know why you would do that. But
what if you saw 5 of them, and you're the only one on the street, and it's dark out? You're in Chicago, and you saw.
I'll tell you what I would do. If I saw 5, I'm going to be honest with you. If I saw 5 people wearing Klan hoods, I would probably cross the street.
You're avoiding the question. Like, why? What would you do if you saw 5 dressed like that? They're dressed like Tupac or something. They're coming down the street, and you're the only one on the street. What would you do, Brian? Would you not adjust?
No, I'm not a racist. No, I'm not a racist. I wouldn't care. No, I'm not a racist.
But we treat people differently every day. You do. That's how we navigate the world.
If I see somebody wearing a Klan hood,
if you saw 5 people with Klan hoods, you would act differently.
Yeah,
so you
because
do.
you
take in incoming information and adjust accordingly.
You know why? Because it's never been proven that people wear baggy pants are a hate group. But it has been proven that people that wear white hoods and are in the kluk, you're laughing, but I'm trying to give you logic, which you've been trying to.
I literally just tried to point out to you, like, there's objective evidence that we could point to that there is an overrepresentation of crime in this hip hop culture.
And the only thing
you just don't want to talk about it.
No, but the only thing you've given me is anecdotal evidence that you spoke to some kids.
That's not anecdotal. We can literally count the songs of the artists, look at the lyrics, and track the data. That's objective. And you're saying, but you can't give me any evidence.
You're saying you would cross the street. You're saying you would cross the street because a kid is wearing.
Not necessarily, but I might. I'm going to pivot based on incoming information.
Okay. I mean.
Now take a look at the response from the audience when they start calling in.
That guy Warren, he is such he's like he's too young to be a freeze-dried hippie, but that's what I think he is. I think he's hearing from all these crazy sides, and he doesn't know what the hell is going on.
To be candid, I wish you would never have him on again. He sucks.
Oh no, I'm not a pattern recognizer.
And I'm trying to be nice here, but
well, the real is that he knows that he's lying, but he likes to think that he would do differently. So like he knows that like in the situation he might not do it, but he wants to not do it, like cross the street. So he's just like, oh, I'm never in that situation, so I don't actually have to face the consequences of having this belief. But I might cross the street if I feel unsafe. instead of being like, yeah, that's probably what you would do, he'd be like, I probably would do that. And I'm like, hey, okay. So it's like an ideal version of himself in that situation, instead of like worst case scenario, you know, what would I do? And I've realized there's two types of people. There's the type of people who think they'll do the worst thing, and they tend to do the best thing. And the type of people who think they'll do the best thing and they tend to do the worst thing. And it's some kind of cross ego thing where it's just like they see themselves differently than how they act in the world. And because they act in the world differently than they see themselves, they have to have these weird cognitive dissonances around these types of subjects. Because I believe some of what he's saying. I think he's being dishonest, you know, in his arguments to win an argument. But I think he's being honest about the things he thinks about himself. I just don't think they match reality.
But I can't. To me, that's racism. And I tried to be nice. I didn't want to flat out.
I don't know what to do with these people. By the way,
you sound like a racist.
I feel like I am living in a parallel reality. Like,
you know,
what
force them to
debate
face
are you
reality,
talking
and
about?
then
What debate were you
hope they
listening
come
to?
around to it. But
man, holy cow, man. He's
unfortunately, what am I gonna do? Take this guy's money away and put him in a ghetto? Like, I don't think it has to be something you experience. It can't be spoken. You can't talk to these people.
he's not all there, man.
That seems to be the consensus. That seems to be the consensus among PTL Nation. I'm not going to lie.
You know something? You heard the old saying goes, we had the last word. So you know, Brian, we got the last word. So
Dave, you're right, and I hope you have a good weekend, my friend.
You can't just declare someone is wrong and that makes them wrong. I mean, that's all determined by the logic, and I've tried to make the logic as clear as I can here.
It's going to be very exhausting to go back and listen to that interview and then have my people post it on social media, because there were some points there in that debate that went south really fast.
Oh, you want to hear something funny that somebody said? One of the other videos, somebody was talking about in the 90s, somebody our age, you know, like 35, 36. And he was like, we were so close to being like, as close as you can to be like anti-racist here in the States. And he was like giving all these examples of like movies that came out. You know what? I think it was that guy who does movie reviews. But anyway, he was like, we were so close, but we couldn't erase it completely, and that aggravated people, that we just could not come to the realization that it wouldn't be zero, and that there would still be a couple racists out there, despite how much of a joke they were. That we ended up giving up on the whole thing instead of just trying to keep it at a low percentage. It was like the project actually was successful. Like the American project up until that point was successful, but not being able to get it to zero, man. There's something about that really irritated the American population.
60 Minutes has gone out and exposed President Trump for his lies. In May, President Trump said over 1,000 white farmers have been murdered in South Africa. He showed a video of what he said were crosses marking the burial sites. But when 60 Minutes traveled to the site, the crosses were gone. Anderson Cooper tracked down the farmer who placed them there.
In the rolling hills of KwaZulu-Natal province in the southeast of South Africa, we met Daryl Brown, a seventh-generation rancher and farmer. Did you grow up knowing you would be a farmer?
It was always in my blood. It's a calling.
Yeah.
But that calling has often come with risks. 10 years ago, his 82-year-old father was brutally attacked on the farm by robbers looking for guns and money. Then in 2020, Brown's friends, Glenn and Vita Rafferty, were murdered in a robbery on their farm nearby.
Of course.
Your father was attacked. You've had friends murdered. Do you live in fear?
I certainly live
Excuse me. We're back.
carefully. We're aware of what's happening around us. We don't take silly chances.
We came to Daryl Brown's farm because of what President Trump said last May
Of course.
about the murders of South African farmers.
It's a genocide that's taking place that you people don't want to write about, but it's a terrible thing that's taking place, and farmers are being killed. They happen to be white.
9 days later, South Africa's president, Cyril Ramaphosa, came to the White House.
What a
Elon
surprise.
Musk, who was born in South Africa.
So this was probably one of my favorite press conferences. Trump invites this guy from South Africa, and then he says, "Oh, have you seen this?" And he says, "Oh, no, I'm not sure what you're talking about." And then Trump has a YouTube video prepared for him to watch, and he makes him watch all of the crazy shit that people are saying there. And he's like, "Oh, wait, no, look at this part. This is so good."
And has also made claims of genocide was there too. What happened next seemed to take Ramaphosa by surprise.
Excuse me, turn the lights down.
Turn the lights down. It's time for movie time.
Trump showed several
Time for movie
videos,
time.
proof the White House said of the violence targeting white farmers.
These are burial sites right here. Burial sites. Over 1,000 of white farmers.
You see the crosses?
We found the
Where'd
spot
they go?
where those white crosses were once planted.
Uh-oh.
It's a lonely, potholed road, not
What a shithole. God damn.
far from Darrell Brown's ranch.
It definitely wasn't a burial site. I mean, those crosses were there for less than 48 hours. It was purely an avenue of crosses that we planted there in honor of commercial farmers in South Africa that had lost their lives.
Brown
Holy
knows
shit,
about the
that's a lot of
crosses
crosses.
because he put them there on the day of his friends Glenn and Vita Rafferty's funeral. He keeps them locked in a shed. In 2024, he brought them out again for the funeral of his best friend, Tolly Nell.
Guys, they were not burial sites. It was a memorial for people that had been killed. Oh my God.
Who was also murdered on his farm. Tolly's
By
wife,
who?
Renee, still lives there. Her husband was killed in front of her trying to fight off burglars. Her son, Tienes, was tied up while they stole cash and guns. No one has been arrested.
My whole life has changed. I've got nothing to look forward to.
Yeah?
Sorry.
Oh, Bob.
So Trump was right?
Tienes now runs the farm. He carries a
it's
weapon with him
anecdotal,
almost
but-
all the time.
Yeah.
The only time I don't have it on me is when I'm in the shower.
Really?
Because I don't ever want another situation to arise where I feel that I'm a victim.
The Nells have hired private security guards and fortified their property
Holy
with electric
shit.
fences and cameras. Many in South Africa feel they can't rely on the country's ineffective and overwhelmed police to keep them safe.
Oh my God. So Trump was right video. Yeah, apparently came to over 1,000. He showed a video of crosses marking burial sites. So wait a minute. It's much worse than people in America realize. Elon knows this. He grew up in
rolling
South
hills
America,
of-
right? No. And so this is really insane to me. The police are in on it. This video is incredible. 60 Minutes goes to South Africa, clearly looking to debunk narratives about white farmers being targeted and killed with impunity. They talk to farmers who have countless stories of their family and friends being tortured and killed with no arrests. Would this story have even aired before the Weiss era? That's probably the person that owns CBS, right, or runs it, I guess. And so probably not. I mean, let's be honest. CBS 60 Minutes was setting up the debunking of President Trump's comments under pervasive violence against white farmers in South Africa, but ends up talking to several white farmers who have lost family members during farm attacks. Wow, guys, big fucking surprise. Did the media accidentally do real journalism? They did. They accidentally did real journalism.
Accidentally.
If you genuinely consider an elderly woman being tortured to death with the power of drill is just a normal crime, you're a psychopath. Yes, this is nuts. And this has to be one of the most spectacular cell phones in media history, and that's saying something given the competition. Anderson Cooper's entire narrative hinges on a supposed gotcha attacking Trump over the white crosses. Then you watch the video, and every single farmer Anderson met over there was either viciously attacked themselves or knew farmers that were murdered or both. Wow, what a fucking surprise. Classic liberal method, say they've debunked something based on a technicality. Oh, wow, they were burial sites, but there were crosses representing the lives of people that were killed. No, see, they were actually the dead people that were killed by the, crazy South Africans. No, those crosses were just representing them dying. It wasn't actually where they were buried. So you're wrong, and there's no problem. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, bro, they're literally lying. There it is. No wonder Edison Cooper resigned from 60 Minutes now. I don't know. It's just so fucking embarrassing. But I did see this, and I wanted to talk about it because of just how just blatantly dishonest it is, right? Very, very clearly. And let me see what the fuck this is. What is this? Statue of King John in Vienna would be racist, Islamophobic, and anti-Turkish, says Austrian politician. Usual suspects. What a fucking surprise. And they got, what is this here? The government in the United States is not founded on any
Look at
religion.
that fucking troll over there.
Since it's Christian religion.
I had my
President
nuts.
John Adams. Well, the thing is that America wasn't founded on the Christian religion. It was founded on Christian values. I think it's pretty obvious that it was. Anybody that says otherwise is, I think, very much being dishonest. And I don't know why people are very dishonest about this, but it seems like it's a very common thing that people like to make that shit up. So any memorial ever in the U.S. doesn't mean anything? Yes, clearly, right? Tell it to Mayflower. Yeah, it's just fucking ridiculous. I don't know why people say stuff like that. Well, I do know why, and that's why it's fucking annoying. But either way, yeah, it's extremely fucking annoying. I do not like that at all.
I'm 29, they're 24. We're both non-binary, and we live in Michigan.
Really? I would have never guessed. Oh, here we go.
At this point in time, with the current state.
Why do they all look like this? I mean, at a certain point, like, you really have to, I mean, really, why are they all like this? Really, it's kind of like, isn't it shocking? Because you'd think that, like, there's a lot of them that are like this, but, like, goddamn. It feels like it's like 80%.
Of the world and specifically the country.
Yeah.
Maybe being single and childless.
Yeah.
Is actually my biggest asset, in the sense that I don't have anything to lose and I don't really have anybody's life to fuck up by
besides your own.
I
fighting
agree.
back against.
Oh, so being a terror to society. Got
Yeah.
it.
So true. So true.
It's like, I don't have anything to lose. I don't. So, like,
How many of these like, this isn't this so weird? Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Yeah, nothing. I know, the Karen Civil War. It is. It's an actual Karen chicks forming sentences with 1,000 MS ping. I guess so. Oh no, the guy from yesterday was right. Who's taking one for the team? Shut the fuck up, man.
Oh,
thank
fuck.
fucking God.
Stop.
Like, I'm not trying to sound like, oh, wow, I'm gonna save the day, because fuck if I know. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm just one person.
Right.
But all my friends who have children, they can't go to a protest and risk getting arrested.
Well.
Or worse.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
So now the protests are filled with a bunch of childless, crazy cat
Yes,
ladies?
exactly.
Is that it? This is this is what they've really been reduced to, is a bunch of childless, crazy cat ladies.
They have people relying on them.
Right. Makes a lot of sense.
So I guess those of us who don't, like, let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go to jail. That's a great idea. Absolutely. These people are professional brain rotters. Yeah, you heard Karens that use AI to impersonate ICE to live out their really dark sexual fantasies? No, I mean, I didn't need to hear that. I would have known that. But, like, yeah.
I had a run-in with ICE last year in March. They called me sir, and they made it quite clear. They threatened to check my body to see if I was trans.
What are you talking about?
Their exact words. Before I knew they'd surrounded my car.
Is this like a sexual
they're definitely
fantasy?
doing that. Cali study.
It has to be, right?
It was right then in that moment.
Man,
I knew
we're not
they-
watching the whole thing, okay? Like, I'm not going to do that to you guys. I'm not. Don't worry about it. I'm so fucking sick of this shit. Yes, these are the problem right here. These people are fucking nuts. Trump threatens to denaturalize U.S. citizens if they deserve it. So many of y'all didn't take this seriously. Yep, that's right. And no, wait a sec. Oh, here we go. Wait. We'll start at very low volume.
It's the Gulf of Mexico!
Good call. Good call.
Gulf of Mexico!
Holy fuck! God damn, this bitch is wild. It's a banshee? I know. Look, guys, I told y'all this is it. I said every place in the world has a mythology of something that is just like this. And I don't think that's an accident. I really don't. Certain mental disorders are also accompanied by facial dimorphisms. Well, maybe you're right. I don't know. This place sucks and I hate it here. Oh my god. I have just the place for you. I know exactly where you need to go. It's a place, it's by the water, it's by the sea. It's called Somalia. They don't have any ICE agents over there. In fact, they don't really have much government at all. You can go to Somalia. Isn't her dad 2-3 years Dajistan? Is that it? Oh man. And yeah, more like Gitmo. They're lost souls. Yeah, these people are really crazy. Also, by the way, dyeing hair in unnatural colors like blue or purple could be associated with self-reported depression, per study within PsychRed Journal of Psychology. See, this is the reason why I don't believe any studies, guys. It's because I already knew this. I didn't need a study to tell me this. It was obvious. Everybody knows this. What are we doing? Depression? No, wait, you mean retarded? Yeah, I know. It's crazy. People are not real. I know. Oh, here we go.
I just feel like as white people, we gotta get stuck the fuck up. Yesterday, 10 years ago, 10 years before that, 10 years before that, 10 years before that. Just, our fucking neighbors are at risk, and we need to be in the streets every fucking day. If it's not you today, and you take a break, somebody else you know, get them out there, take their place. We gotta do this in waves. We gotta protect ourselves. We gotta
We crash out so hard now.
It's time for white people
Mexico is provided not to be a socialist paradise. Yeah. Less
And
government
it's been
must
wild
be
to watch. I've only been
better.
around
Government
here
equals
for
depression.
2
Yeah.
days now.
Right.
And watch the community organize in such a quick way. Obviously, you guys been doing for weeks, and months. And what has it been like to see the community of Minneapolis like really come together?
It's about time. It's about time.
Hilarious.
Ring, ring, ring. Yes, hello. Microsoft speaking. What's that? Just give the players what they're asking for? No. We hate money. What am I supposed to say about Xbox? You know, when you think things can't get worse, they always just seem to find a way. I've always said that Microsoft is just a plague inside the games industry, honestly, any industry that they dwell in, where they're just slowly but surely consuming everything in their path, ruining franchises in studios, all while trying to find more ways to make you pay. And also keep you within their ecosystem. It's working. Not in the sense that Xbox is working, that's definitely not working, but working in a sense that they are dragging the industry, kicking and screaming towards a future none of us want. Xbox is a console brand. That's done. That's been done. It's been done for like 20 years at this point. It's all but dead. Collapsing sales, games that nobody seems to care about, and they have about as many wins as hockey players have teeth. So you would think at some point, these guys would be like, we got to do something different. We got to change things. Well, they did. Just not in the way that anybody would want them to. You guys somehow missed the news. Phil Spencer is now out as CEO, and they have replaced him with somebody who has no experience in gaming. No, instead they come from AI, from marketing, from digital grocery stores, all things that we find very essential in the games industry. Let me tell you that right now. And now if you guys actually think that this is just Microsoft doing this for no reason, wait till you see what they have in store. It is far more insidious than you could possibly ask for. This company does not care about games. They don't care about the hobby. They don't care about their own customers. The only thing that they want to do is remove your sense of ownership, make you live inside AI, push you through a subscription treadmill, and feed you more ads than you will ever play video games. And it all starts with this new CEO. Goodbye, Xbox. Hello, Microsoft Gaming. In 1997, Apple was dying. After just a few years of failed products and half-baked projects, they had no identity, no direction, and the rest of the world had basically written them off. They decided that it was over, but then the company went and they did something desperate. They brought back the guy they fired. Apple buys Next, which was Steve Jobs' software company, just to get him back in the building. And once he's in, he takes a machete to the place. He slashes their entire product lines, kills entire projects, and on his way back to being CEO, he fires 4,100 people. Brutal, focused, and filled with conviction. After just a few years, Apple was a juggernaut. The iMac, then the iPod, then the iPhone, all these revolutionary products that were made with the user in mind. These guys saved themselves by narrowing their vision and putting a product-obsessed psycho at the top that only cared about what products felt like to customers. I'm telling you this right now because in business school, they taught this like it was the alphabet. When a company is headed off a cliff, the first thing they look to change is the CEO. And almost every single CEO hire ends up falling into the same archetype: the fixer, the culture builder, the veteran, or the product visionary like Steve Jobs. You can watch this play out basically across every single industry forever. So I expected to see the same thing from Xbox because, I mean, look at where these guys are right now. They close more studios than games they release. They put ads on the home screen of the console that you pay for. They are pushing ads through xCloud. They've rapidly increased the prices of Game Pass. The last hike was a 50% jump, and it pushed subscribers to cancel at such a volume that it actually crashed their own subscription website. Xbox console sales are at a historic 12-year low, all pushed by some of the worst marketing that I've ever seen in my life. Everything is an Xbox, which blurred the idea of what an Xbox even is, to the point that over the holidays, they were outsold by a bootleg Connect for 5-year-olds. Their crown jewel in Call of Duty just had one of its worst years in the history of the franchise. At nearly every single Xbox release that we have seen published by their platform since Starfield has barely gotten noticed. Avowed, Towerborn, Outer Worlds 2, Gears of War Reloaded, Doom the Dark Ages, these releases have been so lackluster or completely off the mark that barely anybody has any real faith in what's coming next. When you see a brand that is falling off this hard, this fast, something has to change. Something has to be done. Something has to give. You need the fixer. You need the product visionary. You need somebody that can come in and disrupt this direction and force a turn. More than anything, you need a change that will affect your customers. Something that's going to build confidence or curiosity. And Microsoft, well, they just went and did the opposite. Announced just a few days ago, after 17 years with Xbox and nearly 3 decades with Microsoft, Phil Spencer has officially retired, and his once-thought replacement, the president of Xbox, Sarah Bond, has seemingly been pushed out the door soon after the announcement.
Konnichiwa Minisan. Exuboxu no Sarah des.
Replacing Phil Spencer is Asha Sharma, the president of Core AI for Microsoft. Its work history includes Instacart, the online grocery store, Meta, working for Instagram, and being a sitting board member of, get this, the Home Depot. Honestly, I actually feel like these guys could have done a better job just picking up somebody from outside of a Home Depot. Sorry, that was low-hanging fruit. Where do I even start? Look, I'll be the first one to say that I've been calling for a leadership change from Xbox for years. I've always liked Phil Spencer as a gamer, but I've never liked this guy as a CEO. His biggest accomplishments are Game Pass and the death of console exclusivity. And yes, I love that these guys got rid of console exclusivity. It's a massively pro-consumer move, but what does that matter if the games aren't worth playing? Because under Spencer, nearly every single first-party release has just been absolutely garbage. These guys have just completely lost their place in the industry. Gears of War is borderline forgotten. 343, Halo Studios, has been dragging Halo through the mud for over a decade. Fable looks like it's just British Dragon Age the Veilguard. Obsidian's devs are more interested in dunking on Elon Musk online than actually making something that people actually want to play. Activision just dropped what might be the worst Call of Duty ever. And the best thing that we got out of Bethesda is a remake of a nearly 20-year-old game that was made by a third-party studio. And before anybody hits me with Game Pass is a win, no, it is not. I am against subscription services flat out. I think they are toxic for the games industry. I get why people like them. I get why it feels like a deal, but we already know where this road ends because we watched it happen with TV and movies. Cheap entry, then the price hikes, then the tiers, then the ads, then the nickel and diming, and Microsoft has already been poking at that exact future for quite a while now. Now, them getting rid of Sarah Bond, I have no problem with that. I genuinely do not know what Microsoft thought they were doing with that hire. Another marketing-first executive that more looked like a PR move after the acquisition of Activision Blizzard. A nice, clean, inclusive face to put on after all the lawsuits. And now it's coming out that people didn't even like working with her. And she was the key architect behind the genius strategy of everything is an Xbox campaign, so nobody had any reason to buy the damn console. But here's Microsoft, yet again, seemingly making the exact same mistake with their next CEO. Now, it's like I said earlier, leadership changes like this are supposed to stabilize the brand, improve the image, restore confidence, give people something to look forward to, not light your last bit of credibility on fire. And instead of replacing Phil Spencer with somebody that the audience recognizes, somebody with experience, somebody with actual credentials, Microsoft replaces him with an unknown quantity whose background is in AI, marketing, and social media. Now, I've already seen the criticisms fire up online. People are not happy that she does not have a background in gaming. Now, I've also seen spineless journalists line up to forgive it, likely just trying to get there to maintain their access. Christopher Dring of the games business tweeting out, "You don't have to be a gamer to work in games. You don't have to have a gaming background to run a game company. The industry could do with some outside thinking, frankly." God, these people are so insufferable and dishonest. What is wrong with them? Why are they like this? We are not talking about who's allowed to work in games. We're talking about the person who has the power to decide what games even are moving forward. And for somebody that's quite literally working for the biggest game publisher in the entire world. This is a CEO that's not just running a company. They are setting incentives. They are deciding whether the goal is a great game or a monetization trap, whether the product is a console or a subscription, whether the players are players or if they're users now. And when you put somebody into that seat that doesn't understand the culture, doesn't understand the audience, and doesn't understand the craft, you don't get outside thinking. You get a corporate replacement. You get a puppet. That's what you get. You get games that are going to be designed for what they think people should expect and what people should accept, not what people actually want. And if you can't connect with the people that are making games or the people that are playing them, well, then the obvious thing that you're building is nothing for us. This is not an outside thinker. This is an undercover agent posting gamer cred online from what looks to be a 1-month-old Xbox account with completion rates that makes it look like she's playing 80 hours a week. This is a CEO whose Twitter replies have people convinced that she's more AI than an actual human. A CEO who is already speaking corporate parcel tongue. Return to play. We hear you. Vague nonsense that means nothing. And the whole exclusivity business? Come on, guys. What are you talking about? Talking like they're actually going to listen about exclusives, like Microsoft is going to walk away from the one lever that actually gives any of their releases any shot at profitability? That ship sailed a long time ago, especially when they do not have the games to command enough of an audience and they don't have the hardware sales to justify keeping those games locked away. I think that this CEO is a move towards what every single prior Xbox leader tried to spend years protecting the brand from: Microsoft. Yes. Whether it was Robbie Bach, Kevin Backus, the original Xbox team with Seamus Blackley, or even Peter Moore, the guy that actually helped turn Xbox into a household name, you hear the same theme, the same story over and over again. Keep Microsoft's hands out of it as much as possible because Microsoft just doesn't understand the product or the players. They don't understand the culture, and every single time they get a little bit too close, they get the same kind of interference, forcing corporate priorities onto a player-facing problem. This does not feel like Xbox is choosing a new direction. This feels like Microsoft is finally walking in the front door, and I don't think people are ready for how bad things are about to get. Xbox, Microsoft, what were you thinking? Did you guys actually believe that you were going to be able to sneak this past the most terminally online community? Did you not believe that they are not watching every breath you take, every move you make? They'll be watching you by the police. Do you think they wouldn't sniff out the fact that you made an Xbox account just a month ago that's unlocking achievements that even some of the most hardcore gamers don't have? That this account is pushing hours that would make the unemployed blush. The unemployed, they recognize their own. You're not one of them. I have a very hard time believing that they are no-lifing video games while also in the transition of power to CEO, especially since their last position was the president of their AI division. I'm pretty sure they have plenty of other things to worry about right now. You guys didn't think of that. You guys didn't care. This is all a front. This is all them just trying to sneak their little soldier over enemy lines to come in and push their programs and their platforms and their services and their subscriptions and their AI. Everything they can do, everything they desperately want, ultimately trying to turn Xbox into the worst experience possible, because it's exactly what they've done to Windows. You don't need to have experience in making games. Look at where that's gotten us. We've had plenty of outside thinkers. They're called shareholders, and look what it's done to the games industry. It's warped it into one of the most greedy, predatory, and hostile environments that I've seen for just about any other industry. It feels like every single year we grow further and further away from the game side of the video game industry. Everything is about cloud. Everything is about games as a service, games as a platform, microtransactions, engagement, whatever else they can get their hands on or whatever else they can dream up. And when I see a leadership change like this, this is a move further in that direction, pushing that direction. This is more about games as a service rather than games as games. This is more about Xbox as a service rather than Xbox as a platform. And I'll be honest, I think this goes a lot further than that. I think it gets a lot worse than this. I think that this is likely going to be the death of Xbox, not only as a platform, but even as a publisher. And you don't even have to take my word for that. Just listen to the guy that made Xbox. Now, I'll be honest, when I saw this leadership change, my first thought wasn't who is she? It was, what does Microsoft want to do with Xbox? A lot of people still talk about Microsoft and Xbox like they're two separate things, but they never were and never will be. Xbox has always been a piece of Microsoft's bigger strategy, reaching more users and trying to stay relevant with the next generation. But even at its peak, Xbox is still just a rounding error in Microsoft's world. It's a small slice of their earnings, only 7%, while the rest of this company has been all in on AI and cloud. So when the new CEO is coming straight out of the AI side of the house, that doesn't read like we're here to fix games. It reads more like we're here to integrate Xbox into the rest of the machine, but apparently it's a lot worse than that. Games Radar just ran a piece titled "Xbox will be sunsetted under new CEO," quoting original Xbox co-founder Seamus Blackley, saying her job was basically palliative care to slide Xbox gently into the night. They write, original Xbox co-founder and console designer Seamus Blackley reckons it's no coincidence that Microsoft installed a core AI executive like Asha Sharma as the new CEO of the gaming arm. Rather, he sees Sharma's position as a sign that the non-AI business, like Xbox, will be sunsetted as Microsoft invests wholly in AI as its ultimate solution to absolutely everything. Xbox, like a lot of businesses that aren't core AI businesses, are being sunsetted, he said. They don't say that, but that's what's happening. I expect that the new CEO, Asha Sharma, her job will be the palliative care doctor who slides Xbox gently into the night. Blackley also expressed confusion at Sharma's appointment, concluding that the logical explanation is that Microsoft, especially CEO Satya Nadella, wanted an AI person for what's viewed as an AI job. I imagine asking somebody if it made sense to put a major motion picture studio into the hands of somebody who didn't like movies, or a major record label into the hands of somebody who had never seen a live show, Blackley said. Why would you do that? Well, you would do it if you were looking at the problem in an abstract way. The natural consequence of the focus on AI is that AI abstracts every problem from the minds of executives who believe in it. We're abstracting the problem of games as well. That's a core belief, and you can see it in what Satya said, that AI will subsume games like it will subsume everything. Blackley stressed that it doesn't matter whether or not you agree with this view of AI or games, only that you recognize that Microsoft is indeed committed to AI. If anything, he said, it would have been shocking if they had someone in there in a meaningful role who was passionate about games, passionate about the creator-driven business of games, because it would be in direct conflict with everything Microsoft is doing. Microsoft is a company that is now enabling customers by enabling AI to drive things, Blackley said. That is at odds with the auteur model of any art, but specifically of games. Now, a lot of people are going to take this as anti-AI, but I don't necessarily think that it is. I think he's just talking about the direction that the company is headed in and how Xbox just kind of comes at odds to that. And I'm going to be honest with you, that almost lines up perfectly with how Microsoft has been operating. And it's coming from somebody who didn't just make Xbox happen. This guy fought Microsoft to make it happen. He helped build the console. And I mean, looking at Microsoft over the past couple of years, it's all been AI investment, cloud build out, data center expansion, and nonstop messaging about how AI is the next best thing, how we need to stop bullying AI, and how AI is going to subsume everything. They talk about it like a company that is adopting a religion. And once you start thinking like that, every product stops being the thing and starts being a vehicle, a surface, an endpoint, something to be able to integrate their strategy into, whether the customers asked for it or not. And that's why that line from Blackley really hits hard, abstracting the problem. If you truly believe that AI is the solution to everything, like a lot of these guys do, then games aren't a craft anymore. They're an input. Studios aren't the point. They're unnecessary. Creators aren't partners. They're users. And as a result, games and Xbox and everything in general just becomes collateral damage for a problem that they have abstracted a solution for. What I think people should try to take away from this is that if you're somebody like Satya Nadella and you genuinely believe that software as a service is over, that the whole process of making something, creating something, using software is dead because AI will do it, well, then you're basically admitting to what Blackley is implying. If software doesn't matter, well, then games don't matter. And if games don't matter, then what do you need a games business for? Nothing here spells anything good for Xbox. I don't like any of this, and I'm not even against AI. There are just way too many red flags here, and there's so much reckless abandon when it comes to personal sovereignty, ownership, and creative freedom. I am not on board with these people that want to treat AI like it's a miracle cure for everything. Nothing ever is. We do not even know what this is actually going to be good for in the long term. It hasn't even delivered on half of the promises that these guys are selling. The most consistent use case that I have seen is that it's getting better as a search engine, and even then you need to be careful because, well, it likes to source Reddit a lot. And also, AI videos are getting pretty good, but it's also getting close enough to reality that it's going to start wreaking havoc on trust, credibility, fraud, safety, and security. It is a razor-sharp, double-edged sword that is being swung around by the richest people on Earth that do not have to live with any of the consequences. And you can already see what that mindset does. Look at the hardware market. The AI arms race is sucking up hardware like it's oxygen, and regular people are the ones that are fitting the bill. Higher prices, tighter supply, worse upgrades. That's the future that these guys are building. Not better products, just bigger machines, and all forcing you to adapt to it. When I look at where this is heading for gaming, I think the path is pretty obvious. They want you guys off of your own hardware and inside their ecosystem, paying for their subscriptions, getting fed ads, any chance they can get, and all the freedom that they're selling is just freedom inside of a box. It's their systems, their models, their prompts, their rules. They get to control who gets access, for how long, for how much, and they get to control what you're allowed to make. They're going to sell it like you can do anything, but it's not anything. It's just whatever fits inside the cage that they built. I can already hear the comments now, but let these game developers get replaced by AI. These games suck. These game developers suck. Look, bad game developers is a management problem. That is not something for AI to solve. Getting rid of these developers, you're just going to be left with the same idiots that are pushing a lot of these games. Some people shouldn't even have made it into the games industry. Absolutely. But AI does not solve taste. Taste is something that you cannot brute force. It is something that you have to develop through literacy, through knowing why one mechanic feels good and another feels hollow, through understanding pacing, tension, payoff, and restraint. This is how we've gotten some of the greatest works of art. It's how we got Lord of the Rings. If the people that are making decisions do not have that literacy, if they do not understand people, culture, or craft, then giving them better automation doesn't solve the problem. It just lets them misunderstand you at an even greater scale. But I will say, even with all the money and pressure in the world, I don't think that the future is going to land the way that a lot of these executives think that it will, because I think they fundamentally do not understand the product that is being delivered. They do think it is a one-size-fits-all solution for just about everything. AI is not a consumer product. It's a tool. I may own a hammer, but I don't use it every day. A carpenter does. Some people are going to use it to make their workflows faster. Some industries are going to use it to automate repetitive tasks. That makes sense. That's where it belongs. But this idea that AI itself is going to be the next mass market entertainment platform, I just don't buy it. I don't see people just wanting to sit around prompting their own content into existence. We don't grow our own food, even though we could. We don't build our own houses. We don't sew our own clothes. We don't write our own music. We don't want infinite raw materials. We want something crafted by somebody else. We want taste. We want intention. We want something different. We want something outside of ourselves. And I think that's especially true in video games. They think that AI is the next thing to sell, but I think what people actually want is still just a video game. I'm going to say it again.
Yeah, it's still
I think
gonna
that
need
AI
some kind
could
of,
be a great tool, but I do not see it being a
playtesting.
consumer product, because maybe it will be one day, but right now in its current iteration, I just don't see that being the case. These guys are walking around and they're offering solutions to customers for problems that they don't even have. You are fundamentally breaking the sales cycle. You're supposed to find a lead, qualify that lead, and then offer a solution. These guys, I'm turning to them and saying, I want better games, and they're like, what if you made your own? That doesn't fix my problem, nor is it what I want. I think that this is genuinely the end of Xbox, which is really sad, because I loved Xbox. I really did. This is not the future that I wanted to see them live out. That's definitely for sure. I have some of the best memories on their platform, on a lot of their games. It's where I met most of my friends that I still play games with today. But this is the most self-inflicted downfall that I think we have ever seen. And these guys just continue to double down on the worst decisions possible. And it has weakened their platform. It's weakened their games. And Microsoft is not the kind of company that is going to try to fix it. They're just going to cut off the limb because they don't know how to fix it. Or in most cases, they probably think that something else is the new future, the better direction. And all this is going to do is it's just going to collapse the Xbox brand even faster and even further. Trust is already gone. I don't see anybody actually believing in the direction that this company is going in. And while I would love to see that future turn out to be bright, and I'd love to be proved wrong, I just don't see that being the case. I really don't. I personally do not see a universe where this CEO comes in and revives Xbox. I am right with Blackley. I think that they are here to sunset this brand, to move them towards being an AI platform, to being a games as a service platform that lines up with everything that this company has been pushing, with xCloud, with Game Pass, with everything else. And I don't know what that means for the studios that are under them. I don't know what that means for the IP that's under them. I would hope that they sell off some of that stuff. I hope that they would give some of these developers a path to independence with a lot of these companies. But to be honest with you guys, looking at how hard they push into AI, there's a really good chance they're going to try to hold on to everything except for the people, and they're just going to use it as AI training data. It's a dark future, man. But realistically, if I'm putting myself in the seat of these executives, if I remove my understanding of games, of the industry, of common sense, that's what I would do. Because at least from a business perspective, it's the one thing that makes the most sense, especially looking at where investor money is at today. Because if I do those things, if I say those things, investors are going to be happy. Customers won't be. But customers don't make my stocks go up. Investors do. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Definitely not one I was happy to make, that's for sure. If you guys did enjoy the video or you found it interesting or anything like that, share it. Share with your friends. Share it on social media. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think is going to happen. What direction do you think this is all going to go in? Definitely interested to see what other people are thinking.
Don't worry. Indie games and AI will carry. People will make their own stuff out. Also, I gotta go with these duders I say, but I'll put something on for you when I do that. Peas were.
So in this video, we have two ladies who have gone to this restaurant. And it looks like one of these restaurants where you sit on tables with strangers. Potentially, yeah. I don't really like that. Clearly it was packed. And clearly they didn't book reservations. Because what we see in the video is one young lady sitting on another young lady's lap. Because there weren't enough seats. On that same table, you have men who aren't doing that. Probably because they planned it and they got reservations. That was irrelevant in her mind, because in her mind, one of those men sitting down should have stood up and offered her a seat. Yes, even though she's a random stranger.
Get him banned. Get him banned. We don't do that here. Oh, now I'm pissed. Find out who that is, get him banned. We don't do that.
The first thing that came to mind when I saw that video.
Ma'am, your poor planning does not constitute an emergency for me.
You chose to go to the restaurant during its peak hours. The bar is packed, and there's one seat, and you and your friend decide to sit at the one seat. So one of you guys have to stand up. You chose that, and now you're mad at people that you don't know because they didn't get up out of their seat to give it to you, a stranger that they don't know. I can understand if you knew those guys and y'all went to the bar together and they allowed y'all to stand up, that'll be weird behavior. But these men don't know you, they don't owe you anything. And you said it in your video, they sat there for an hour, so they weren't even there that long. Next time, do a better job planning before you go out. Either call ahead, make a reservation, or if you need to get to the bar, you gotta get there at an earlier time when it's not that busy.
It's because she's attractive. Yes. This level of entitlement, and she's turned off all the comments, is because she's very attractive. And I guarantee, in her real personal life, she's used to men twisting and turning to not only get her attention, not only get in her presence, but when they're in her presence, they're probably doing all types of backflips and all types of shit. So she sat down, and there are men around her, and they're just not paying her any mind. She's not used to that. I guarantee it. Because that's the only thing that makes sense. It's the only thing that makes sense. You can't be that entitled if you're not used to certain things. And I think she is because of her looks. But you're gonna have to hold that. And she held it. So this lady has been going viral for screaming in the gym. Again, she's been getting pelters. A lot of people have been coming for her. What's going on? What's this? What's that? But I have empathy for her. You see, as someone who fights demons on a regular basis, I know what it looks like. She wasn't lifting weights in this video. If that's what you're assuming, your assumptions are completely wrong. She was definitely fighting evil spirits. And sometimes you just gotta lay it out, man.
I mean, I tried my best to not scream, but when you are trying to overcome what you have achieved last week and you're trying to be like 1% better than what you once were, you have to break through that ceiling. And when you break through that ceiling, it's immensely agonizing and it's very painful. And you just gotta somehow like tell your brain that you can do it, like it's easy, like it's so easy. And then when you get to that very last stinge, you tell yourself that this is only the next 5 seconds of my life relative to the rest of my life. So what's another 5 seconds? Push that last rep. Push it. When you have time to ask yourself, do I have one more rep? You have one more rep. Otherwise, you're not pushing hard enough. But you're maintaining the same quality. Your last rep should reflect the first rep. Exactly the same.
Is she explaining weightlifting to us?
She explained weightlifting to
How the
us?
hell is your first rep going to be the same as your last rep? That doesn't even make no sense. That means you're not pushing hard enough. Because that literally makes no sense. Your last rep, you should be able to barely get it up.
I literally hate being a mom.
I don't enjoy being a mother. I take a shower, I gotta give him a shower. I buy me a shoe, I gotta buy him a shoe. I get ready in the morning, gotta get him ready in the morning. Gotta feed him, clothe him, bathe him.
Listen to me when I say this. Do not have kids. I be wanting to give up.
Having him was the biggest setback in my life. Golly. I would like to say that you shouldn't demonize having children, but they may just say, I'm not demonizing it, I'm just sharing my opinion and my experience, which is fair. It's very fair. The only thing that I would say is when you say you regret having your child, you got to be very careful with how you word things, right? You can't, or you shouldn't, in my opinion, outwardly express, I don't want this child anymore. You can feel however you want to feel. Don't come on the internet though. What does that accomplish? Like, you know what I'm saying? Prevent uncomfortable places. Just don't make your child feel like they weren't wanted.
Y'all not gonna like me when I say this, but single mom slander is a form of classism. Classism works by literally saying if you are enduring economic hardship, you are the problem, you are irresponsible. But that's just really not the reality, especially in the world that we are living in today where rent is $2,500 and up and groceries are high as hell. I also feel like it's just completely unfair to bash a single mom for an outcome that she did not create. I just want to clarify that it's a difference between being a single mom and a mom that is single. See, a mom that is single still has support, maybe from a village, maybe from the baby dad, maybe from wherever the hell is going on, right? She has support. A single mom has no support. It's just her and her baby. Most women did not sign up for that, and most women do not want it to be that way. So when you're bashing women for being a single mom, you're bashing their category, which speaks volume to the content of your character, because anybody who has a conscience knows you don't judge people by their category, you judge them by the content of their character.
So let's start off with the first video.
Bro, it's definitely by choice.
Calling your child a setback is wild. It is wild.
Might have been a lot of small choices, but it's by
Women
choice.
coming online expressing the fact that they don't like being mothers. It's something that kids may see when they get older, and they may feel a certain way. But if the mothers communicate with them how they were truly
trying
feeling,
to
I don't
pretend it's
think
not
it's
when
a problem. Because
more
in
access to
reality,
birth control than
these
ever.
women are
Yeah.
single moms. And being a single mom is not normal. It's not enjoyable.
Trying to lock down a bad guy.
It ruins the experience of being a mother. So I completely understand why there are a lot of single moms who feel like this. You're not supposed to be a mother 24/7, no breaks, no nothing, no personal time. Especially like in the second video, if they have no support system, they literally can't take a break. The only break they get is when the child's sleeping. Now, is single mom slander a form of
Feminism
classism?
has ensured women
Well,
are
most
free
single
to not
moms-
be mothers or wives, but you shouldn't
Are
be
most
a
single moms
mother
poor? Why you
before
make that statement?
or
Let's
with would also
do a
be in
quick
a way.
Google check, because
Yeah.
I would assume
Just
single parent
stepping stone. Don't
household, one
skip
income
steps.
household, I would assume that most single moms are working class to poor. Whilst not all single moms are poor, a significant portion live in poverty. Approximately 28% to nearly 40% of families led by single mothers are below the poverty line. Nearly 60% face economic insecurity. Damn. So it's fair to say that most single moms are struggling financially. So to discriminate against single moms technically would be classism. But how are we discriminating against them? This is just online discourse. We aren't the ones in power when it comes to like holding jobs. We're not saying, hey, you can't come and work here. We're not saying, all we're saying a lot of the time is like, you guys made a terrible decision in who you picked. And that isn't classism, that's just commentary. Is discriminating them in your dating life, for example, classism? Maybe I don't know. That would be crazy. If that actually is classism, that's crazy. If it is, I couldn't care less. Because in reality, when we have these conversations, and maybe we should be more clear, but when people go on about single moms, majority of the time, we are speaking about the ones who picked the guy who we all know, that guy. We all know what he is. We all know who he is. Somehow you still picked him. It doesn't make sense. There are women who are now single.
That's the original life hack for women to guaranteed victimhood. Yeah.
You know, it just ended. It happens in life. Those aren't the ones that are getting
Best
slandered, let's be
shield,
for
I'll
real.
tell you that much.
It's the ones where your baby dad has like 4 baby moms, 5 baby moms. It's the ones where your baby daddy had no job. It's the ones where you weren't together. You weren't even in a relationship. You were in a situationship. You weren't living together. You weren't committed in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, you deserve, in my opinion, to get slandered for that. It was a dumb decision, especially if you bring it online. Speaking of slander, we spoke about the Subway Queen a couple of days ago. A woman who has gone viral for calling a group of black people the N-word. More video evidence has surfaced of how much of a weirdo she actually is.
I don't know you. Yeah, cheat me on. Why did you hit me? Because you hit my foot. No, That's self-defense. I said I wasn't moving my foot. Self-defense. Yeah, it is. You hit my foot. Did you just do it intentionally? Yeah, I said I wasn't moving my foot. I didn't touch her. He slapped you? She slapped you? Yeah, I just sit here. No, my foot was there and you hit it. Yeah, because your feet is not. It wasn't on purpose. There was a seat right here. Why didn't you just sit there?
But she asked you, excuse
And you say, I'm not moving. I don't have to move my foot. Oh, you have to move my foot. This is your house. No, I don't have to move my foot.
Yeah, I don't care. That's how you're supposed to sit. Princess? Yeah, not here.
Can you suck a dick?
Oh my God, let it be. I know it is.
This is how New York is. You're a bastard. Why the fuck are you even sitting next to me? That's harassment. Oh, okay.
Happy New Year's, ho. Why are you standing? Where are you going?
So that's your subway queen? Don't look like a queen to me. Looks like a typical entitled white woman that wants to play victim in a situation that they created. Now, the person that recorded that video goes on to say, I got the videos from my friend. Here's what actually happened and how it all started. She was sitting on that spot and her purse was on that seat on her side at first, so he couldn't sit there, and she also rested her feet on the seat in front of her. He said, excuse me, and sat down. As anyone would do, expecting she would take her feet down. Then she hit him, saying that he hit her feet, and he started the video. Everyone was calm at first. Then it escalated with other people after she tried to grab someone's phone, as she tried with his phone as well. Then she went there and pulled the emergency brake. And as we all know, as she was leaving the subway, she went and yelled the N-word to those people, and all these white people were like, yes, queen, yes, you did the right thing. Put those people in their place. Not knowing the full context of the video. And that's why these people, I don't know about them. They get out in public, they don't know how to act, they don't know social context clues, knowing you shouldn't keep your feet there if someone wants to sit. Like, they just need better home training, and they need to know better. Because
Home
that's
training.
pathetic. And all you
Like
people that are
potty
calling her
training.
subway queen, you're pathetic too.
I don't really think the people who are celebrating her even care about the context. I think they're just excited to see black people being called that word in public. But even just by looking at her, you know something's wrong with her. The way she blinks, her mentally, she's just not all the way there. She's just not. But speaking of not being all the way there,
speaking of not
okay, Mexico. Hey, I don't know what the hell Mexico got going on, boy, but I said it a while ago. I said, I'm not going anywhere where you got a bunch of cartel niggas running around laying dormant that can just pop out at any minute and they can do whatever they want. And the government knows that they exist and everyone knows that they exist, but they're still existing. That don't make no sense. Where's the El Salvadorian nigga? You gotta get him in Mexico. You gotta get him to fix this shit up, okay? Because the cartel is out here running riot.
Well, Mexico is under chaos after a cartel leader lost his life during a military operation to arrest him. El Mencho was the leader of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel and had a $15 million bounty on his head by the... Well, Mexico's military operation to apprehend him went left and he passed away. Now they're terrorizing the city. Actually, it stated that across multiple Mexico states, they have barricade roads, have started to set fire to buses and vehicles, has caused mayhem in local airports, and now it's getting so bad to the point where Mexico's president has stated that she wants everybody to stay indoors because as of right now, it's not safe. Side note, make sure you join the Discord on my page if you guys want updated information on what's going on before I post about it. Praying for the Mexico civilians, and I hope that those of you that live in America have been able to get in contact with your family. So far, the only casualties are Mexico's military personnel who executed the operation against El Mencho himself, and some of his men.
This is one thing I respect about the US. Something like this could never happen to the US government.
Facts.
The US government has to show who it really, like, we are it. We're the big dogs. You're not gonna punk us. We're the ones that are doing all the bad shit. You think, no. This makes Mexico look like a bunch of pussies. It makes the Mexican higher up look like a bunch of pussies. You got the cartel running around here in airports. Where are you? What are you doing? If this was America, they would do something crazy. They would do like I don't even know what they'll do what they did in El Salvador. They'll start rounding cartel members up, putting shit in place, all kind of laws, right? You're not gonna come and punk us. But that's what they're doing in Mexico. You got civilians running around scared because of some Negroes in just some regular Negro. Like, come on, man, what the hell is going on? Fix up. Where's the military? What's happening? Why are you so weak?
This is the Guadalajara airport. Beauty Bird, an influencer who's known for her Get Ready With Me videos on both TikTok and Instagram, has posted this to her story of people terrified after the cartel leader, El Mencho, was killed. The cartel has become very vengeful and is attacking people all across Mexico, specifically in Jalisco.
Update on Mexico. It's getting worse. The cartel is now burning planes. As you guys know, the new generation cartel is now terrorizing Mexico because their leader passed away during the operation to arrest him. Not only have they been snatching people out their cars to set it on fire, they have now begun trying to set all the gas stations on fire. Yeah, come to find out, bro also had his own private military. Crazy. And they also have been going on little sting operations attacking officers and border agents. It's stated that they don't plan on stopping until they get the body of El Man back. I'm genuinely surprised the Mexican military isn't able to stop these dudes, bro. They on the hunt for the cops in the military. It's not the other way around. Side note, make sure to join the Discord for all updates and pictures about everything that's going on. But I do pray for the people in Mexico and civilians that are there, because they have been letting civilians know, stay out the way. They catch your ass while they doing their business, it's gonna be up for you. All images shown are directly from the news and for educational purposes.
Yeah, Mexico gotta fix up. Mexico gotta do what that El Salvadorian guy done. Round these niggas up, man. Lock them in cages, okay? He was looking for tattoos. He was, man, they were on the streets. They got these niggas out here real quick. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these government officials were getting paid off.
Duh.
Because it doesn't make sense for the cartel to have more power than the military, and that just doesn't make sense. But again, the civilians, I hope they're safe. You know, stay inside like they said. This is ridiculous.
That's actually why people get married, you know, just so you know. Because this is built into marital vows. I'm not leaving, ever, no matter what. It's like, okay, well, that definitely puts a boundary around our arguments, right? Because I can't say every time you manifest one of your flaws, which you're likely to do just as often as me, well, enough of this. It's like, that's horrible, man. If your whole life is, well, every time you get out of line, I'm out of here. It's like, how the hell are you? First of all, you're not going to admit to ever doing anything wrong. Second, you're going to be on your, you're like a scared cat the entire relationship, because, well, who knows, it could just come to an end at any moment. It's like, you know, people say, well, if the possibility of divorce is open, it makes you free. It's like, yeah, that's what you want. You want to be free, eh? Really? Really? So you can't predict anything. That's what you're after.
Dentist gross.
It's a vow. And it says, look, I know that you're trouble. Me too. So
I know
we
you're
won't
trouble.
leave. no matter what happens. Well, that's a hell of a vow, but that's why it's a vow, right? That's why you take it in front of a bunch of people. That's why it's supposed to be a sacred act. It's like, what's the alternative? What's the alternative? Everything is mutable and changeable at any moment. Well, go ahead. You live your life like that and see what you're like when you're 50. Jesus, it's dismal. 2 or 3 divorces, your family's fragmented, you've got no continuity of narrative. And it's not good for the kids, not by any stretch of the imagination. And so it's a form of voluntary enslavement, I suppose, but it's also equivalent to the adoption of a responsibility. And there's more to it than that. If you can't run away, then you can solve your problems. Because it might be, okay, well, I'm stuck with you. So how about we fix things? Because the alternative is we're going to be in a boxing match for the next 40 years. That's the alternative. So, and you think you're going to fix problems without something like that hanging over your head?
Exactly.
There isn't a chance. You'll just avoid them because that's what people do. It's really hard to solve problems, especially in a relationship. We're having a fight and I find out that it's, you know, because you were abused by your uncle when you were 5 or some goddamn thing. You know, it's like, it's very frequent that that sort of thing happens. There's your partner is, you know, manifesting some weird anomalous behavior. You just can't make heads or tails of it. It doesn't seem related to what you're doing at all. They don't want to talk about it. And so as soon as you bring it up, they get mad. And then you bring it up again, they even get madder and they tell you that you're not going to talk about that or they're going to leave. And so maybe you're really, really persistent because you're kind of a son of a bitch, and then they break down and cry, you know, and then they have this horrible memory that comes flooding forward that's completely, you don't know what to do with it, and then you have to sort it out. It's like, you think you're going to do that unless there's a good reason? You have to know, we better sort this out or we're going to be carrying it around for the next 40 years. That maybe is enough motivation so you'll actually try hard to solve a problem. It's a lot easier to say, well, sorry, we're not going there. But then, good, you'll have it every day, every goddamn day for the rest of your life. See, there's some additional problems with divorce that people don't really grasp when they're young. Like the idea that you can be divorced once you have children, that's kind of a stupid idea, because you can't. You can find a limited substitute for your initial freedom. But if you have kids and you try to get divorced, the probability that that's going to demolish your life is very, very high. First of all, it's incredibly expensive. So one or both of you is going to come out of that poor. And your market value has declined. Let's say you're the woman who takes the kids. Your market value has declined radically. You're going to
Your
be
market
poorer.
value has declined.
The man, he's just as screwed because he is now an indentured servant and there's no escape from it. So it's not so bad if you can negotiate a peaceful separation, and some people can, but lots of times if you have a terrible relationship, it's not like negotiating a peaceful separation is all that easy. But if you're at each other's throats, good luck to you. I think it's roughly equivalent to having non-fatal cancer. It is not pleasant. It's a 10-year process, 15-year process. It'll cost you $250,000, and it'll tear a big chunk out of your life. And also, it will really disrupt your relationship with your kids. And, you know, you bring kids into a step-parent family, they do not do as well. Step-parents are not as good parents as biological parents, and the data on that is clear. Now, obviously, there are exceptions, because there are terrible biological parents, and there are wonderful step-parents. But if you look in aggregate, it's not that easy to care for children. You need everything you can binding you to them. And if they're someone else's children, mostly they get in the way of the person that you love, right? Well, let's say you have a child, I'll be right out. Let's say you have a child and I want to go out with you. Every second you spend with that child is the second you don't spend with me. And there's going to be a price for that. I'm not going to be happy about that. And if I have a child, you're going to feel exactly the same way. You might say, well, no, I love children. It's like, yeah, sure you do.
Yeah, sure.
I doubt it. You might love your child.
Yeah.
And you know, it's pretty specific the way that people love children. So, and the rate of abuse for kids in step-parent families is way higher than it is in biological families. There's not even any comparison.
So dark
dark side of living in Japan that no one ever talks about. Never jaywalk. And I was fined $5,000.
Doing a jaywalk. This is bullshit. Everyone around me going to Japan and they're telling me, oh, you should go there, you should go, blah, blah, blah. I know, I'm Japanese. So today, let's learn about Japan. Because there's so many videos about Japan, I always enjoy seeing another perspective, but some information about Japan is kind of bullshit. So let's take a look. Creepy Japanese man, rumor versus reality.
Now that you're here actually experiencing Japan, do you find it's pretty much what everyone was saying, or is there anything different?
Yeah, but I don't know if I can say this.
Uh-oh. I mean, we can always cut it out. We can always cut it
Well,
out.
because I seen a lot about like, oh, creepy people, like creepy men.
What does it mean, creepy Japanese man? What does it mean?
And like, especially in like Shibuya and like Shinjuku.
Yeah.
I didn't really run into that. But maybe because I wasn't like there the whole night.
If there's anything you'd want to teach people where you're from about
Cleanliness. I would say cleanliness is a big thing.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of trash cans everywhere, I've noticed.
Yeah.
What? But wait, creepy Japanese man meaning Tosatsu guy? Tosatsu is like a sneaky spy cam guy?
I'm sorry, this needs to be said, but when you see those videos talking about how Japanese people are so polite, they're so nice, that's propaganda.
What?
In order to survive on this godforsaken island, you need to understand it's not that Japanese people are somehow more polite than other ethnicities, it's that they're fake as fuck.
I can say confidently Japanese are most polite people. I'm pretty sure.
And I'm Japanese, I can say that. So as you know, people aren't having babies and our birth rate is dying. So there's been programs like this, you know, in order to address...
Wait, how it's related? How it's related to polite or not polite? Japan attempt to partner African country with Japanese city.
labor shortages, there was a
Triggers xenophobic backlash. How it's related to?
partnership with some African countries like Nigeria and Ghana and Tanzania to create these like hometowns in local Japanese areas. And again, it's not for fun. It's for work. And of course, netizens are losing their minds.
Oh my god, so much hate. Ugh.
Japan, I've never been, is like going into the future.
It's very different from the previous one.
The food is super clean. You can go into a 7-Eleven, like a gas station, and get healthier food than most American restaurants. I came back. It was
I agree.
culture shock.
Japanese 7-Eleven is healthier than any American food. I agree.
Like everything in Japan works. The sinks work, the airport works, everything's clean. I get back to LAX.
But you know what? This happened because of Japanese super hardworking, which is positive and sometimes negative. We deserve more payment.
And I'm like, I'm in a complete hellhole right now. It's dirty. I go into the bathroom, 3 sinks don't work. Then I'm like trying to get soap, doesn't work. Just would never happen in Japan. And then also at the same time, you're walking through LAX and just people are like obese, they're unkept, they're like not clean. People are like screaming, yelling. It's like so loud.
Okay, you know what? I wanna watch her video again.
So do you remember how I said that this narrative about Japanese people being so polite is a form of propaganda?
So she really don't like Japanese have a reputation of being polite. She hate it.
Where are y'all at? How do you explain this? May I remind you, I have to censor this because this is the Japanese imperial flag.
That's not imperial flag. I mean, our Marines still use it.
For Asian people, that is the equivalent of the schmutz flag.
All right. So she's pretty anti-Japan propaganda channel.
When we talk about Japan's declining birth rate, people's immediate solution to this problem is to bring in more immigrants. And I understand from an economics perspective that might be true, but only seeing immigrants as labor power is extremely dehumanizing.
Wait. You just said What?
We are forgetting that immigrants are human beings. They're not just tools that you can use to boost your economy.
I agree. I totally agree.
It concerns me when people only see immigrants as tools for something that can benefit us.
Now you're anti-immigration after you call Japanese xenophobic?
Is there any dark side of Japan?
Dark side of Japan.
Japan. That's a very interesting question. If you want my honest
opinion, I think there is. From my outside point of view, so I could be wrong. But I feel like there is almost a repression of certain emotions and certain. It seems like in the daytime when I'm looking at people working, they're very focused, very serious.
Maybe because I'm living in New York City, I think it's same things happening in New York too, right?
But at nighttime, people get very drunk, and
But Japanese are more extreme. I'm sure.
I've seen people that were lying down on the street that were wearing suits. So I can tell there's a repression. It's like they don't get to be themselves in the daytime. So then in the nighttime, they really go swing the other way, basically.
Is that dark side? I would even say that's part of Japanese culture.
Advice would you give to people who want to
Advice.
come to Japan for the first time?
Don't stay in Shinjuku. Go anywhere
Why?
else. I liked every other place other than Shinjuku so far. I love Kyoto so far. I plan to go to Osaka. Hopefully I can drag a couple of friends tomorrow. Avoid the tourist traps.
Shinjuku,
I don't
why?
think it's real Japanese culture anyway to begin with. I feel like it's what Japan thinks that the Western world wants, so that's what they put there.
But yeah, Shinjuku originally, so Shinjuku Shin meaning new, Juku meaning yado, hotel. So in the Edo period, Shinjuku was the kind of hotel place. You see another foreigner in Japan.
Ew, is that a gaijin? What a bitch. Everybody just comes here for fucking anime and weird shit, you know? What an asshole. Ew, another gaijin? What a bitch.
This is something I really don't understand. What's the feeling like this?
Why are you leaving Japan?
It's not that I want to, it's a more of a need. And it's pretty well known that not just in Japan, but most of East Asia, that mental health isn't necessarily taken too seriously. You're not meant to show that you're going through anything, but behind that mask, there's like depression, anxiety, anger, all of that stuff. But, you know, even when you're not at work, you have to keep that mask going here.
Okay. So I think there's many theories why we have following order or like reading air or keeping harmony culture. The people say because we have a lot of natural disasters like earthquake. In ancient time, the houses are made by wood, so there's many fires. So something happened, we need to cooperate together to fix it.
I don't speak
You are getting pulled over in Japan.
Foreigner from America.
Foreigner from America.
Pulled over, I think. Nah, I just got pulled over in Japan. Oh my god, I don't even speak Japanese, bro. This is gonna be so bad. Holy fuck. Oh. I don't speak Japanese, sorry.
Oh my god, I really hate this. It doesn't matter if you speak Japanese or not. You can drive a car in Japan, follow the rule.
America? So fast, right? Oh, sorry. There was the guy who kept putting his car.
And also Japanese police, if he were Japanese, he definitely get ticket.
In front of me. This road is 60. Oh, 60? It's not 90? Oh, sorry, I didn't know.
No, you don't know numbers? The Japanese numbers are different?
You
Oh,
got ticket?
interesting.
No. See, this is happening. I hate that. I'm pretty sure if he were Japanese, he get ticket. Why this is happening? And this guy knew if he pretend he doesn't speak any English.
Yeah.
Any Japanese.
Yeah, he did.
I'm pretty sure he doesn't speak, but he knew if he say that, he go through.
Yeah.
Gosh,
Yeah,
I
he
hate
did.
this.
This is crazy, dude. I get pulled over in every country.
When Japanese men get desperately lonely, this is where some of them end up. This is Japan's virtual cafe, and upon entering your private booth, you get unlimited access to their very...
I mean, I've never been, but my high school was located kind of crazy place. Next to my high school, there was this. It's on Tennoji. That's crazy.
funny Japanese DVD collection, a VR headset, a desktop PC, and unlimited tissues to blow your nose with. With the VR headset, you can watch very funny Japanese videos. I won't lie, these virtual ladies were really kind. For some reason, their keyboard had a lot of brown that dried up in between the keys. I imagine these contain so many human DNAs. I gained ancestral knowledge just by typing on it.
I mean, just be careful. I have worked this place for just one day because I quit during the orientation. But the workers can see what kind of website you are looking at. So be careful.
Shit.
They also gave me a beverage when I came in, but it barely had any liquid.
Well, is that
left in it,
Tenga,
so I
right?
want to file a complaint later. And I guess the secondhand vintage market in Japan really is big, because they were selling these wrinkled up ties in a vending.
What? Is that real one though? Japan is paradise until you live here. Yeah, right. There's only two kind of video. Yeah, Japan, woo! Or like, oh, you know, Japan is really sexist and xenophobic, like woke pressure and blah 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 blah. Only two type. Japan is convenient. The train are on time. Everything is clean and safe. Yeah. But convenience doesn't always mean comfort. There are so many unspoken rules that you expect to know. But that's something you learn over time. Like you need at least 5 years, I would say. I mean, even me, I don't think I understand fully about Tokyo because I haven't lived there. I was held a different standard compared to other foreigners. Because you look Japanese? I see. That's understandable. I think that's tough. I'm fluent Japanese, so I can blend in. But constantly keeping up image of mentally exhausting. I can't imagine living in Japan as American Japanese because I can tell that's difficult. In my opinion, Japan is an amazing place to visit. But living here is completely different from being a tourist. True. Especially if you have Japanese look. Yeah, people expect you that Japanese do. Yeah, it's difficult.
The dark side of living in Japan that no one ever talks about. And trust me,
Tell
it's
me.
not what you expect. No matter what you do, never jaywalk. Not only frowned
That's
upon, but
typical.
actually super illegal. And I did
Super
it once
illegal.
before knowing the rules. And I was fined $5,000.
I was fined $5,000 doing the jaywalk. I can say
Doing the
confidently,
jaywalk.
this is
Fuck.
bullshit. I mean, I've done jaywalk countless times in Japan, even in front of police. I never get ticket. And the Japanese police who can't even ticket for overspeed guy, they won't charge 5K for jaywalk for tourist. Well, let me check. Okay, even ignoring street sign, it's just less than $200. Less than $200, but she get charged $5,000. Amazing.
Not yen.
Amazing.
Dollars.
Plan on traveling
Yes.
to Japan, don't bother bringing any skincare products. Their skincare just on another level and much cheaper than any skincare that you can find in the States. Do not tip while
That's
in
true.
Japan. There is just no tipping culture at all. And I made the mistake of doing it and they literally chased me down the street because they thought I just left money there. It's because they actually pay their
That's so typical gaijin experience.
workers fair wages that they don't need to tip them. As most of you know,
But I would say if they are working individually, you can tip. Last time I went to ramen place and I really liked that ramen, I really wanted to support, I tipped them.
matcha is extremely popular there, and I made the mistake of only sticking to matcha. There's actually so many different types of teas that people use to either clear up their skin or to actually de-bloat and to lose a few pant sizes. Because Japanese beauty standards are super high. People will do anything or take anything to stay within.
I really can't believe this kind of video has 326k likes. Are they believing what she's saying? Really?
That beauty standard. There's one specific tea that all the girls would drink. I swear you would think all of them were on the O shot. I ended up taking it and I lost 5 pant sizes within the first 2 weeks of drinking it. And I moved back home.
What?
I actually brought a bag for myself.
And that's even not Japanese product.
まもなく3番線に快速上野行きが参ります。お待たせいたしました。3番線には快速上野行きが到着いたします。9番編成グリーン車はその他青色の時間に利用停車いたします。
What?
時間上野東京ライン直通列車は8時2分発品川行きでございます。東京 新橋品川方面ご利用のお客様
This is too funny. This is like what? A Japanese nationalist? Is that what that account would be called?
Predominantly women who are having sex more, which is why that STI and the STDs are spreading more.
Yes.
In accordance to your logic, you are in control of who comes in, which is why it refutes back to key that opens up many locks as a master key, but a lock that gets opened by many keys is a shitty lock. Like,
again,
that's the whole
I
point.
never want to put a lollipop in my mouth that you all have just shared. It just
Exactly. So in a sense, you would agree with us. 80% of those men can't even get a conversation with you in the first place. Like they do. And a lot of times, a lot of women will just disregard a man coming up to them if they're the same height as them in heels.
Where's the accountability for men? Because this is something that I constantly hear men talk about. They talk about it's the love of the game.
And then create the game though. It's like you guys are women do.
It takes two to tango though.
No, it does. You're presenting that. Where's the accountability? The accountability is like we're in a society that says having sex openly, whenever you want is okay. You have full control to wait till marriage. That's up to you. So if you don't wait till marriage because you got manipulated and that's on you, that's on you.
So we should, not hold people to things that they've done in the past.
I like to state I've been celibate for a year, just before I start this. But with the lock and key statement that was made earlier, I think this is a mindset that men hold. To a lot of men, body count does matter. But I think a lot of women aren't also wanting a lot of the men that are on the market. And personally, like for me, the same group of people that talk about having like post-nut clarity is never somebody I would ever take sexual advice from, because I've never experienced that a day in my life. If I had sex with somebody, if I looked at something, I never thought, maybe shouldn't have done that after. Like I was decisive in my choices of giving my body to someone. And the same way we talk about a lock and a key, I personally don't want a lollipop that everyone has put in their mouth. So it's like you can say, it's different for men and women, but an extremely lustful man who has slept with multiple people, I think will continue that lustful behavior. And we've seen this with celebrity relationships. Jay-Z cheated on Beyonce. I mean, like you can be as good of a wife as you can. And if you have a lustful man by you, he will pick the
Why are we using celebrities as the example? Here's the thing about it. If you happen to have a lustful man, guess what? You end up choosing that man. The way how it starts off is usually the way how it finishes. So I think we're just experiencing right now a lack of accountability still.
They do feel that, but it's a year later after talking to their girls and then accusing him of SA. True. Yeah, they get that. It's just not internal and immediate. Got it.
the not choosable woman, the woman that is not marriage material, and he'll still cheat behind your back and go cheat with the one that is easily accessible. So I think like this whole also
accessible.
if I lie to
Why aren't you easily accessible?
and tell you my body count is something that it's not,
you guys are together.
you have no way to prove that I'm not like telling the truth. So at the end of the day, I think it's truly a mental thing. If you're gonna say I want a partner who isn't sexually all over the place, you should hold that same standard for yourself, because to think that you're gonna get into a relationship and all that's gonna be magically gone, I think it's really silly to think that. If you are a lustful creature and you have sex with just about anything just to get your rocks off, in a relationship you're probably not going to be able to just tone that down. Or
she's a handful. Usually the characteristics and traits that follow your high body count is going to show itself, and it's going to unveil your true nature. You possibly can hide certain characteristics, but usually the trauma that you dealt with so many relationships is going to affect the new guy that is actually courting you, and you're going to make it difficult for him to actually break those barriers down to actually be a good candidate. See, here's the thing about it. What I don't know will not hurt me, but it always unveils itself one way or another.
In a relationship and a person asks me their body count, they're not the person for me. I think that's very childish behavior. As long as you're tested, we're adults. I don't really care. I'm not saying I'm going out and being with everybody, but I'm very to myself as a person. And if I choose you, I chose you for a reason. But again, with the lustful thing, if you're having sexual encounters with 100 people, it probably shows in other aspects of your life, and not wanting or not having enough in other aspects. And then also
Possibly.
the energy exchange. I think giving yourselves body, both men and women, to someone, it definitely plays a part in your mental health. That's why everyone, no matter what gender, should be cautious of what you're getting yourself into. But also women are at risk for higher sexual assault, rape, and I don't think it's anybody's place to tell them how they should heal. Whether that is, again,
I just want to pause it real quick. Women say that they're more susceptible to sexual assault and rape. Yes, we know what can happen, but that doesn't stop women from being as promiscuous and, lustful with the clothing. It's possible. They wear damn near nothing, but say they have the most fear when out in public. That makes no sense.
It's not the most unhealed version, but sleeping with people to get their power back, there's no room to judge on how someone heals. It might not be the right way.
We judge it.
But to me, I'm not going to judge anybody for doing that.
Usually it's the man who presents the question and it's the girl who says yes or no.
Correct.
There we go. If it's the other way around, it's basically, unconsensual, which is not.
Yeah, I only said that just 'cause I don't want it to be confused.
I thought I was hearing that wrong. My bad.
Yeah, no, you're good. Because I think, and I think to kind of look at it like, do men create it? I doubt it, because in nature, in every other creature, basically, every other species, the female ends up selecting. So I would say that it's a trend, so I think it's a safe assumption that it's the same for humans as well.
Yeah. I would agree.
So you would agree? Would I'm curious to see your answer. Would you agree that women allow access?
I think yes, but also if a man's asking 100 people, then
Well, who's to say he's asking? I mean,
And what does that even matter if he is asking?
he could
Well,
just
then
it could just
consensual.
But the reason why I ask is just because you brought up the STD and the STI
Yeah.
Scenario, but like if women are presenting that they're answering the question to men asking, hey, the man's asking, can I have sex with you? And she's like, yeah, right? She's allowing the access for sex to happen. So majority of the time it's predominantly women who are having sex more.
Exactly.
Which is why that STI and the STDs are spreading more.
Yes.
In accordance to your logic.
She's bum fumble. She's bum fumble. Women have become way more looser in time. We already know that. Most cultures have always tried to harness female promiscuity and keep it, locked in the box so that it doesn't spread out. And then we start having all this, frivolous sex. And now today, that's the one thing that has changed is women are busting it down a whole lot more. But guess what? Still a large majority of guys aren't. So that lets you know that they picking the same guys that know how to sweet talk them, make them feel good. They giving those guys access.
It's also
I think there's actually statistics that disprove that, like men actually are usually the carriers of STD, and I wish I had the statistic with me, and if you are like a sexy hot guy, if you are asking 100 women, you might get 50 of them to say yes. So, is it necessarily the one woman who told you, yes, I'm okay with that? Is it her somehow fault, or is it the guy that's like putting his dick everywhere?
No, that's going to be in the portion of accountability.
Yes.
Right, you have to take accountability. It takes two to tango.
Yeah.
The man's asking, the woman
And you lack it.
allows him to do it. Yes, but at the end of the day, you are in control of who comes in, which is why it refutes back to, a key that opens up many locks is a master key, but a lock that gets opened by many keys is a shitty lock. Like,
again,
that's the whole
I
point.
never want to put a lollipop in my mouth that you all have just shared. It just
Exactly. So in a sense, you would agree with us.
where you say it takes two to tango. It does take two to tango, and it takes two irresponsible people to get an STD. So it's like, again, even though I have allowed access to someone to come in my body, right? Because I said yes, somehow like it's more meaningful to me. It doesn't make sense to, I feel like, defend somebody. Again, asked 50 women or however many women in the club that they can, and they're just trying to bag some sex for the night. I think if anything, that is way more disgusting and much more questionable behavior sexually than someone who goes, oh, I like you, I'm into you, I want to have sex with you. If you have someone who's just giving it out because they just want to get it out. Like, I think that's, in my opinion, that's grosser. Like,
whether it's in the club, on a dating app, in church damn near, or just in public, if you meet somebody and y'all start, courting each other, you still have to follow the proper procedures to make sure this is a good candidate. Why don't you have them meet your family possibly? Let the guys around you end up figuring out that guy, what type of guy he is. Have some standards with yourself. It's going to be up to y'all. I hate to say this, y'all have more choice, more freedom to do whatever y'all want. You have to take some accountability with that.
Nasty.
What's interesting about this question is we're both gonna, like, both sides are gonna argue whether somebody should or should not value something. But at the end of the day, I talk to men all the time. I get to see their perspectives. I also obviously talk to women too, and I get to see their perspectives.
Travis Kelce.
Like, I know men inherently value that somebody hasn't slept with somebody as much.
I
right?
said that.
So like that, yeah, they have a lower body count. So whenever we're sitting here thinking about, the master key or, the lock, when we're sitting here looking at those, at the end of the day, the men are going to get to determine what they value the most, and women are going to get to determine what they value the most.
True.
And when you jump into a relationship, I think it's important to be transparent about your body count, about those things. And if somebody's asking about those, it's because they value them. And it goes back to one of the first things that I talked about is, like, if you're going to be in a relationship with somebody and you're good for them, then you're going to share the same morals and values and all those other things. And I know just inherently men value that, and that's going to be something that when they jump into a relationship, they're going to want to talk about that. They're going to want to know that, 35 other guys haven't been in a relationship with this person and slept with them. They're going to want to know that, she is, I guess, more selective with that. She cares more about it, and she's saved that for something that, means more to her. And it goes back to, like, the number of times that you've slept with somebody diminishes what that relationship can be.
I said that.
I do believe that people are going to talk about it when you get into a relationship about, what's the whole body count. When you're younger, I think you do it a little bit more like, oh, am I your first? Or, how many people, who you was with before me. People usually ask that when they're younger. As you get older, the question probably should not come up. And I'm going to be honest, I'm still a firm believer on what I do not know will not hurt me. So I'm not going to just go out there trying to dig on who are your partners was, how many of them, how did they do it like this, do it like that. It's time for me to make my new mark. And if you have bad characteristics and traits, those things will show itself. Sometimes we can self-sabotage ourselves, I think, by asking too many questions, just trying to dive into things you might not need to know because you might not be ready to handle them. So I think we should do a little bit more discernment on just the characteristics. And ladies, you might want to be more careful. If you do have a promiscuous past and you just go out there just talking about it all frivolous, you might be cooking yourself.
Earlier, though, I think men have this thing of like wanting to own someone. You do not have access or own someone's past, and you could only hope.
But I can sit here and if you have your past, and not you specifically, but say somebody says I've slept with 35 people, I know me personally would be like, I know that I cannot marry you because that is something that is going to bother me.
Hey, sorry, I'm gonna go on that.
Again, I also have a question.
For me, that's as a guy, like, I'll say this, like, if I'm like, I mean, I guess because I don't care as much, right? But like I'm saying, like, if I find a girl, like, we're hanging out, we're cool, clicking, and then she's like, let's say if it goes for a month or two, then I'm like, what's your body count? And like, for his example, she says 35, bro, like, especially like how in her example, like she said, like, if you're a female who did this, like, in your past, like, for me, if we are here and now, I was with 35 dudes, but like that shit happened 5-10 years ago, like, bro, who cares? Like that, like, to me, that has nothing to do with.
Pay attention, cuz simping right now.
Right now, like,
right
you
now.
did your shit, like, yeah, like, but it's like you can't go in the past and like change that shit, right? So it's like, if you, to me, if I value you as a woman, like, you got values that like I can see myself with. That one fact that you was like crashing like with lots of dudes back in the day, like,
it's contextual.
I'm not gonna be like, oh man, like,
maybe
you
it
were
was
a hoe
like
back in the day,
during
I
college
can't
or
do this.
something.
Like, it's like, man, like she said, people grow, people change. Like, I'm trying to look at you and value for what you bring to the table now, right? What you did 10 years ago when you were 16, like, it is what it is.
When she was
bro. Like,
16,
all of this, are you switching sides?
I don't want to sound
fine.
I don't want to. No, I don't want to say I'm switching sides. I'm saying ideally, I would prefer a woman who hasn't been slutty or anything. But at the same time, like, if you have the values I'm looking for, and like, even if you say you was with 100 dudes, I'd be like, kind of like, damn, But it's like, whatever, my turn now. You know what I'm saying? Like, we
man said his turn.
like.
Just being honest, I understand his perspective 100%. I can see both sides of it. I can see where.
Well, his perspective is fine. The problem is he's probably not going to stay with that girl. So he's okay with it as her as a person and as a one-night stand, but he may not marry that girl. So he's part of the problem in the sense that these guys are like marriage-minded, where they're like, hey, I just want a girl that hadn't slept with a bunch of guys because, like, long-term, I think the damage that sleeping with a bunch of guys does to the psyche of a woman is detrimental to a long-term relationship. And this guy's like, oh, the damage isn't going to affect me because I'm not going to be in a long-term relationship. It's subconsciously, he doesn't realize the connection there. Valheim had some upgrades, yeah. It has, I don't know if it's got any upgrades. I know it's got a couple new lands, but I forget how many times I die in this game. They won't waste time being with one until they find out the right one, which wastes everyone's time there. I mean, for her. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that's that combination of, like, loneliness plus a lack of, it's not like technique, it's not discernment, it's like a lack of being taught what a good man should look like, and then having that ability to be lonely in the meantime, to like hold out until you find somebody good. It's something I learned by doing a lot of dating, is that doing a lot of dating and talking to a lot of people is actually really lonely. And it's really hard not to compromise just to go to the next step with somebody. It's really tough. Like, I feel for the people who are holding out for like the right person, quote unquote right person, that like has the same values and stuff as they do, and they're not compromising anything big, because it sucks. It sucks big time. I think it's a sunk cost fallacy too, where you're in it because you can't fully explore other options, so nothing will look better until you're together so long you feel like you might as well stay. Yeah, that's why I'm actually okay with like the dating part of dating, where you go on dates and you talk to lots of people. I'm actually not offended by that. So if I was talking to a girl and I liked her and she said she was talking to other guys, I wouldn't be offended by that. I don't feel hurt by that, because I think it's the best way to go through that stage without getting too invested into one person that you're not sure about. It's supposed to be hard though. Doesn't make it easier to live with. Yeah, exactly. It is supposed to be a hard thing. Like, all good things are hard, right?
Where a guy would potentially have an issue with it for sure if she has a high body count, but you're gonna have some guys who just feel like, you know what, it's okay. But in another sense, a lot of guys might look at him as low value because he doesn't value himself enough to say that, you know what, that's just not a quality standard that I'm looking for. I don't want you in my life. But here's the thing about it. If the physicality and, let's say, the mental and everything is lining up and she did have a precarious past, you're going to have a lot of guys still take it. They're not going to say anything about it. That's why it's one of them things that's taboo, to where, it's possibly doesn't need to be said out loud, because people are still going to concede on things. That's a fact.
Jeez. Well, I mean, I think where you're getting at with that is the high body count itself isn't really what matters. I think it's the why. Kind of like what you were saying. Like, if I was young and making stupid mistakes, young women, like...
No, but fully exploring potential with other people, I feel, takes a degree of commitment. So dating around is fine, but you're not going to get the answers you want from the person you're interested in if you do want to go further, but they don't. Yeah, I mean, there is a point of like dating somebody that you pretty much got a pretty decent idea of their character, if you're a reasonable, well put together person, and you can go deeper to kind of like test and double check some of those things. I mean, that's what I did. I just, like, I mean, I think the system works fine if you do it like that. You show interest in a lot of people. You have a couple of dates with them. to assess like their values and all that stuff. And then one of them will probably match up the closest to you. And then that's the one you try to go deeper to until, you know, you hit either something fake or something misaligned from their words and actions. And then you abort. Decent idea, but to know more, I mean, you can't get a full sense of how they are in a committed relationship if you're not willing to test. Oh, if they're not willing to test that with you. Yeah, it has to be mutual. Yeah, you're right. If you can, yeah, this happens all the time where you have a good match on your end where like their values are the same as yours. As far as like your values that are important. So if I value A, B, and C, they also value A, B, and C. But if their A, B, and C doesn't match up to, you know, like my A, B, and C, then yeah, it can be a big problem. Like if they just keep talking but weren't exclusive, even if we both been inkling this might be a real thing, it wouldn't change my opinion of your character if you weren't willing to be exclusive. If we just kept talking but weren't exclusive, even if we both had an inkling this might be a real thing, it wouldn't have changed my opinion of your character if you weren't willing to be exclusive. Really? Actually, no, that kind of tracks. Maybe not my character. Yeah, I could see it not changing your opinion of my character. Maybe my intentions. Like if I wanted to have like, you know, a long-term relationship with one person, which was my original proposition, is that I was like, hey, I've been in a lot of committed short-term relationships and I want to try the other side of the spectrum, which is, you know, long-term monogamous relationships. Oh no, it would have. Yeah. I was gonna say, because even if you think I'm of good character, that doesn't mean my aims would have been the same. Especially not my stated aims. Either never happened or last way longer than it should. If 1 month into the exclusive we were like, meh, that's alright, go back to dating, but at least you tried. Maybe this is more common than I know, but it seems the exclusive testing phase either never happens or lasts way longer than it should. Yeah, I agree. I think you're right about this. The exclusive testing phase either never happens, and I don't know why, or it lasts way too long because they're not a good match, but like the loneliness of, you know, having to keep looking, you know, the exhaustion from dating, something keeps them locked in. Well, I would have assumed it wasn't me you were after. Yeah. We wouldn't have been a good match, is what it would have been, which is fine. Like if that's how it was, then that's how it was. Thankfully it wasn't how it was. But yeah, the exclusive testing phase. So you go on the dates, you guys click, both you guys match up, but then it never goes further than that. And I don't know if that's because it's because of like the freedoms, or if it's like petty things, like people aren't prioritizing values. I that's my assumption, is that people don't know their own values, so they don't know how to test the other person for their values and to like watch them for their values. So they don't even know that they're, you know, a good fit for them. They just know that they were fun on dates and that's it. Women get the ick over dumb shit. Yeah, like there's lots of stuff that's like non-value related things. They think someone else is a better fit. And I do know that. I do know there's lots of women especially that think they can do better. They're like, you know, I went on a guy who was more handsome last week, but the guy I'm on a date with is less handsome, but he's funnier, and I like him more. I'm sure I can find a man who's a combination of these two things, and that makes sense to me. And if that's like her, like if her value is like him being handsome and funny, and she meets a handsome guy and then a funny guy a week later, it makes sense that she's like gonna keep going. I don't know if she should have that value. It's a weird value to have, at least for me as a as a person. But it sucks because women really don't know what is good for them, even if they say they know what they want. Those usually aren't the same things. Yeah, gamers have this problem as well. Is they're like, oh, I want a game that's, you know, hard, but they don't really want a game that's hard. They want a game that is hard enough for them to feel like they've earned whatever reward they get from it. Lots of stated preferences and revealed preferences are a funny thing. For some reason, people do think they have to try for 6 months or some arbitrary timeline. That shouldn't matter if the first month you're not a good fit. Yeah, the first month you're not a good fit, you don't have to keep going. That being said, there is like a, you know, it's hard to test all the person's characteristics and values in a short period of time. So it is something that over time it's good to watch a person, especially if they're young, because when you're young and you're still growing, like you and I were pretty much developed into our you know, our characters as we were, but when you're younger, it's you know, you got to take more things into account, like, you know, she in school, who are her friends, what her family's like. You and I were pretty isolated, so we only had to worry about what each other thought, and each other's kind of like past experiences. It's a funny comparison. It's true though. Rejection's so hard for some people. Like it's a bad fit. You didn't fail. Yeah. Well, it's a weird thing because the whole rejection being hard, you take it normal and in stride in so many other areas of your life. It is weird that like in romance, it's like this big horrible character defining thing if you can't, you know, if the other person doesn't like you. I don't understand. Anybody who's done like a martial arts, like you fail all the time. Like I don't know, man. Failure is a 10-year marriage filled with bullshit, and you end up hating each other and become miserable. Yeah, that's like the real like moral failure. Like if you go on a date and like you're not a good match, that's nothing. Being in a marriage for 10 years and getting divorced because you're miserable, that's the real, like, you need to take a good hard look at yourself in the mirror after that. Yeah, it takes much more discretion for such a big choice than most people seem to want to put in. Yeah, I do think that people they take it very lightly. Like it's very like because you want it to be fun, right? Like the feeling you want to have when you're with and around that person isn't the same feeling you want to have when you're assessing your potential futures together, you know? It's almost like some kind of mothers and fathers should be making the decision, and then you should just agree with it if you guys like each other. It's kind of like that's how it used to be, and it's kind of some kind of subjective, objective coming together that. But they give so much other aspects of their life so much attention and effort, but not this. Yeah, people do that all the time. They put like a lot of, like I put a lot of effort into like video games and stuff like that, and there's so many like other things that I could put people put effort into weird things in their life. Like I could have learned all the tax code for our house or something like that. Something else. People put you could put a lot of effort into anything. I could have learned a second language. People are funny about what they put attention, but it just tells you that they don't really, you know, they don't really care about that stuff too much. Fun, but I think the trope that sticks around with people nowadays is that like the Disney idea of love, where it's destined or fate or whatever shit is just perfect, the opposite to hard work. And they also don't have to work to grow to deserve that person. Well, like, yeah, two different things there. The whole trope of like you love at first sight. I kind of think that's true. I think that if you are a discerning person who knows how to check the other person for values, when you finally, because this is how I felt, when I finally found that person who all the value things started lining up, it felt like magic, because I've had so many other times, 100 other dates that it didn't match up. So when it did match up, I was like, oh shit, this is fucking amazing. Like, it felt like magic. So I think there's some truth to that. I just don't think people know the mechanism of why that feeling comes about. And it's because you were saying no to so many people because they weren't a good fit, that when the one person who is a good fit comes around, you're like, oh shit, this is fucking amazing. And you don't have to worry about a bunch of other bullshit because everything else lined up, that you can just be yourself and be happy with that person. Like, it is a very magical thing. Disney didn't do a very good idea of showing how that worked, but the essence of it, I think, is just actually true. They don't have to do the work to grow. As far as that goes, that's like one of those things that, like, once you get past like the value thing, you're arguing about like the little things in life. That's where like the growing to deserve the person is needed. If you're bad in some area of your life that didn't affect you when you were single, and then when you're with the other person, it starts affecting you, or your relationship, that's when like the growing really needs to happen. Yeah, but at least women, it seems they put so much effort into vanity and female friendships, social media. Yeah, I do agree that like I feel like for women, it should be easy for them to like kind of assess and find guys that they like, because it's actually completely within your skill set to be, to like look for red flags, to do little like social testing, like watch him with the waiter kind of such things. Like there's so many things that I feel like women are very adept for that men are just not something that naturally comes to them. So it is weird to see so many women be fooled, by fuckboys or by guys who don't know what they want. Good guys who just don't know what they want. They're just too dumb or too ignorant. It's true for some reason if you know very well that you're looking for and how to evaluate people. I love it too. A person saying it to you as opposed to being some fantastic person to everyone. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's actually one of my things that I look for, is that I didn't want you to be more attractive to other people. I wanted you to be specifically attracted to me. Because I think those are the people who last the longest. I think you can have two hot people, who are in a relationship for a long time, but I think it's harder. It's better to have people who are like moderately attractive, but aren't attractive to everyone. I think their marriages last longer. It should be way easier than they make it out to be. Women love the struggle. Yeah, true. It could be just they're just staying in their victim mindset of being like, I need a villain, and men are a convenient villain. We tend to be the worst and the best, but the worst.
You guys are all kind of at that age right now. I mean, like, we're guys, especially like guys who are sociopathic, not that most guys are, but like there's a very small like percentage of guys that are very sociopathic that are just going to use you guys for your body. And they're very prominent in the dating scene, and it's very annoying as a guy who's not that guy, because every girl who gets played by so many of those guys starts to think we're all the same. And so, kind of going back to the high body count thing, like the higher your body count is, most likely, if you've got a body count above like 35 and you're in your 20s, I doubt you've been in at least half of those as a real relationship, for one. But again, it kind of comes back to the why. Why is the body count high?
Hey, not trying to be funny, but Buddy with the black shirt on, he look like a white version of MTR, just being honest.
To me, it's more of like a little like footnote, like, oh, we'll come back to this later. But again, if I don't find that out until like a month in, at that point, I know whether or not you've healed. I know whether or not if you're Christian, if you've repented,
Yeah.
I know that, okay, she's made that change in her life to where she's not going to be a problem. One thing that you kind of notice in a trend is men kind of want a woman that makes them feel special, which I kind of think is why subconsciously the low body count comes in. And then women kind of want a man who's desirable amongst a multitude of women.
Yes, y'all do.
Yeah, where does
You
that
do.
come from?
I can back that up. It's pretty simple. Like 80%. So if you take 100 men in a room, right, 20 of those men are going to be sleeping with multiple women, right? If you have 100 men, 100 women, right? 20% of those men are going to be sharing that multitude of the 100 women, because 80% of those men can't even get a conversation with you in the first place. Like a lot of men lack just the probability to even communicate with you. And a lot of times, a lot of women will just disregard a man coming up to them if they're the same height as them in heels. Like,
he know what's up. This is real. These women don't want to admit that, but these women are, they have, the standards are so strict. I don't know why they playing these games right now.
It's unbelievable.
That goes back to the nice. It goes back to the nice guy.
You two have kind of already answered it, but like you two gentlemen, so I'm curious because like in my example, like you were talking about the why, right? So I would say the vast majority of my body count occurred from a teenage when I was very, very young, up till 16 years old. Then around 16, I started realizing, no, this is not how I want to live my life. But that occurred because I was sexually assaulted at a very young age. We were kind of talking about your way of getting your power back and choosing hypersexuality, choosing to heal, and then trauma that I also experienced at that time, just from other things, caused that for a span of 3 years of my life, So 3 years of my life from 13 to, 16 in that range, I would say I slept with more people in that time than I have in my entire adult life.
That is crazy, and the world is not on you understanding because you had that traumatic experience as a young child. That's still going to shape you, and guess what? That shaping you is going to affect you in your adult life. So you might need to autocorrect, and you need to fix that because somebody doesn't have to just, oh, I'm sorry that you. People are not going to do that. People are going to just take it for what it is. You still did it, and if you came out of it with worse quality of character, that's going to be your fault.
So it's like, with that, like if, for example, like does that still, if the why was justifiable, I guess is my question, if the why was justifiable into, why they had a high body count, and if they have those values, because we're talking about values that, women could bring, I would say, yeah, it's valuable that there's a low body count. I think there's value in that. I can agree with that. But isn't there also value in self-awareness and growth and the ability to like come in and like reflect and choose to be a better person? Like, to me, there's more value in that. So I know you two have already kind of like talked about this, but I'm curious to see what you two would say about that.
Yeah, I think it's subjective, 100%. Because at the end of the day, like for me, yeah, if you come into a relationship and you're like, my body count's 10, I'm not even looking your direction. You are literally like, I'm not even going to reply back to you after that. Just because it doesn't matter about the why. It's a perfect thing to talk about between men and women, because this is an equal opportunity, opinion. You have to take accountability for your actions. If I shoot somebody when I was 7 years old and they're not here anymore, and I'm 27 years old, I'm like, hey, I've changed, but you're still gonna look at my past and be like, wow, he still killed somebody, like.
You can still take accountability and not.
No, if he was a murderer as a child, it's gonna make you think twice about getting that relationship because he might do the same thing to you possibly.
You or your kids, yeah.
I had something I also wanted to
And
say.
knowing
have
that
y'all
somebody has
experienced
like
post-nut clarity?
Everybody.
Yeah,
we're
men.
any kind of trauma around sexual stuff.
Me personally, no, just because like anybody that I'm with I'm in a serious relationship with. So.
Yeah, but I'm talking about even on the hub, Y'all experienced that?
Oh.
What's that one? She's talking about.
I know. That's a definite fact. If she's talking about masturbation, we definitely have had post-nut clarity to say, man, why I do that? Why I bust that nut? I should have did something else. We do that a lot as men for sure, and that's why women ain't gonna never understand that. And see, they nuts that they bust, they don't probably never think about it like that because they so goddamn mental about it. It's usually visual for us, and some of the nuts that we bust, we ultimately realize we shouldn't have done it, and that's why when it comes down to the woman that we with, it matters who she is, because if we just busting in and we just look at her and it's like, why did I do that? It means that we shouldn't have not been there. But if we have something that's a good quality candidate and that's going to make us want to stay there, that really matters for us.
Bro, you're talking about corn. Sorry, my mom might watch this. I gotta be stupid there.
My mom might watch
Because I think
this.
most women, specifically, most women usually aren't just sleeping with people just to sleep with them. If we talk about satisfaction in bed, most women aren't even having fun. If you look at the statistics, most women aren't orgasming during sex. And I know
it's about
personally, the
loneliness,
person I slept
connection,
with
intimacy.
was someone that I thought I was going to be in a relationship with. And like you were saying earlier, there are a lot of guys in the dating market who will proposition you. They know that you only want a relationship. They'll court you, and then once they get the sex from you, they dip. So was it my fault for like sleeping with so many guys, or was it like?
I don't know. I don't know how teachable it is to show people how to watch other people's actions. I don't know how much what I do when I read people and I talk to people and I say different things to see if they see, to see what their answer is. I don't know how normal that is for people. I'm big on saying like this is easily something you could figure out by talking to a person for one date, just by asking them different types of questions and keeping things fun and light and trying to get the most earnest answer out of them. But I don't know how transferable that skill is to like every single person who's in the dating market. It's like the Osmongold thing. Like I don't know how many dumb people there are that just need somebody else to pick their mate for them because they're just not smart enough to not get tricked over and over and over again. I'd love for there to be like statistics on that of being like, if you're under the IQ of whatever, there's just no possible way, even if you're given a list of questions, for you to discern if the other person's being honest, partially honest, not honest, or unaware, and just like a million other things that you just in every answer you have to read into. It's just one of those things that I don't know.
Oh, I actually tried to save myself for someone good,
And the shitty thing is that the better you are at that, the more I judge you for it. The more you're like me, the more I judge you. The less you're like me, the less I judge you. So it's like the dumb people get the easy way out. I'm like, oh, she's just a dumb bitch. I can't blame her for, nailing those 10 fuck boys. But if you're you, and you fuck around with just one fuck boy, I'm just like, oof. I hope you learned your fucking lesson. The one strike type of situation.
I didn't sleep with just anybody. I slept with this person, and I thought we were forming a relationship with each other, only to find out I was being played. It was the game. It was, I was being manipulated into giving my body up, knowing, and the person, I always let them know, like, if you don't want a relationship with me, stay far away from me. I don't want to just have sex with anybody. That's not what I'm here to do. You have to take accountability for that. Where's the accountability for men? Because this is something that I constantly hear men talk about. They talk about it's the love of the game, and it's the it's the game, and it's
all guys don't even think like that. She's still going back to the ones that she chose. This woman lacks no accountability.
And then create the game though. It's like you guys are
It
women
takes
do.
two to tango,
No,
though.
it does.
Women
It
might be the playmakers.
Well, no. So I'll rebuttal back off this. You're presenting that. Where's the accountability? The accountability is like we're in a society that says having sex openly, whenever you want is okay. You have full control to wait till marriage. That's up to you. So if you don't wait till marriage because you got manipulated and that's on you, that's on you.
That's
right?
okay. I'm also not looking for a religious man either. So, that's fine. That's fine.
But you don't
I
have
get
to.
it. You're religious.
You don't have to be religious.
No, but I get it. The whole waiting to have sex till marriage, that's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, you gotta test drive the car.
But also,
You gotta
if we
test
look at
drive the
Gen Z
car.
statistics, we're having less sex than a lot of previous generations.
I see a lot of people.
I would say the men are having less sex. The women are still busting it down like normal. They're able to choose the guys that they really like. Possibly maybe some women are turning around and saying, you know what, I don't want men in general, whatnot. But the ones who can, They definitely are. And I don't understand. She's trying to equate him mentioning religion as to say that, well, I don't want a religious man either. Ma'am, you might not have no morals and standards. That might be problematic in itself because you need to follow something. Stand for something, fall for anything. If you don't have any moral values and character, you will fail. And that's what we have a lot of people out there just doing any and everything, and they have no actual moral compass. They have no actual standard to themselves, which is why they look sometimes the way how they look, because they don't care and appreciate things. You can tell this guy still has a standard in his life, and she's trying to combat him with his own, trying to say that his standard is wrong when he's saying that you can have a standard for yourself so you can make better decisions. This is crazy.
Where it's like they're sitting there and they're courting for 7, 8 months, and then after they crack, that's it. That's the end of it.
That's what
After
you're saying.
they
Is that
crack.
the crack is the
Man.
problem. Is if you're allowing
Love the
yourself
language
to sit
on
here
this.
and introduce a sexual relationship too early, that's what, like a lot of you guys have said, is the complication. That's the problem. Every time that the sexual intimacy is introduced, that's the problem. That's what's causing all these, issues within the relationship. Then cut that out, save that, and see what happens when you don't do that. And that's
I think the thing that is wrong is your perspective on women.
Yeah. So you feel that is the woman's fault if the man also wants to crack?
No, I'm saying the man shouldn't either. I think it's both ways. I think the man should definitely not want to do that either, because the minute I do it too, you're going to introduce that complication, and that's why if you are going to want a serious relationship with somebody, and you've had all these serious relationships that ended badly because sexual intimacy was introduced too early, then maybe that'd be something that, hey, I cut that out this time and see how that relationship goes.
Can I ask you this real quick on that? Have you ever gone and bought a car, you never test drove it or nothing, you know what I'm saying? I was just like, yo, here's the car, here's the keys, and you sign right away. You didn't do nothing, you didn't look at it, you know what I'm saying? You didn't take it around on the highway, none of that. You didn't pop the hood, none of
But
that.
a car and a woman are incomparable. That's
But it's
one
like,
here.
I mean,
still really works.
It's like, here's the thing about it. I understand the fact of I didn't wait in the beginning when before I got married to have sex with my woman, but I wasn't overly religious as well. But here's the thing about it. Reason why a lot of guys were able to wait, because they were probably getting versions. Usually, I'm gonna be honest, vagina's gonna be pretty much stretched across the board as the same. Just being honest. The only thing that makes a difference sometimes is when it's brand new. But for the most part, you get inside of it, it's gonna be about the same. The most that's gonna be the difference is gonna be body odors and smells. But these men, if you know you were going to get a virgin wife, you pretty much know what to expect. So that's why they didn't care about having to test drive it early. The reason why we test driving these cars early now is because you got so much more factors involved into it. Women aren't just coming at you as a virgin, and we live in a society of equality, so women are doing exactly what men are doing. So now you get to know people on a way different level than how it was back in the day. Would I wait till marriage? I didn't, so I probably wouldn't, especially in today's society where women are way more promiscuous. You can get cooked possibly doing that, but I'm not mad at the guys who are still doing that.
Dating apps are
okay. All right, that's it for that one, man. Bruh, context clues are everything. Context clues are everything, man, because I just feel like it's a lot of lack of accountability, and she's trying to take certain things.
Yeah, they're not appealing to their Christianity and Christian ethics to just not go ahead and all women.
No, I don't think so, no.
Why not?
Your ethics and your morality, to a sense, has to be bigger than you. He's pretty interesting, and I'm surprised that she's not like acknowledging what he's saying, or at least forming a rebuttal. I think I'm probably making her rebuttal.
There isn't rights at all. From your view, rights are a social construct, aren't they?
I mean, rights are whoever is able to enforce them.
That's right. So it's a social construct. Do you believe in objective truth?
No.
So I can't believe anything you say, and you don't believe that there's any such thing as rights, but it's wrong for me to do something bad to you even though there's no moral facts. Ingenious. This is your opposition, ladies and gentlemen. These are the communists who are taking over academia and teaching your kids. What's in dispute here is not.
So before we get too deep into this video, this is Andrew Wilson debating a teacher, I believe. And guys, I don't know what this debate's about. I don't know what they're going to talk about in this. I don't know who's right and who's wrong. I'm going in this completely blind, and I'm just going to try to be as objective as I can be. So please make sure you like and subscribe, and let's get into this.
Not whether or not you can craft societies in which men grant women rights. Because I would argue that obviously we can see societies right this second. We live in one where men grant women rights.
God, I don't want to interrupt you, but God grants the rights in our society.
Oh, yeah, does he?
Well, that's what the...
Oh, this guy from Tim's IRL podcast, Ian.
Constitution says.
Well, the Constitution operates on an axiom that all men are created equal under God, right? This is axiomatic. I'm not saying, I don't think it's grounded, and I don't think it's well philosophically grounded. While I, as a Christian, would argue that there's some positive rights, or at least could argue that there's positive rights, from her view, there isn't rights at all. From your view, rights are a social construct, aren't they?
I mean, rights are whoever is able to enforce them.
That's right. So it's a social construct.
But I don't even really dispute with you with the force thing. Like, you know, who determines a right? Is that by divine right, by God or whatever? But like, as far as like the practical reality of like who can enforce their rights, that really comes down to force.
I just want to make sure we get this clear. Is a right a social construction from your view? We make it up. And then we have guns and say, do it or else. Or these people are allowed to do it or else.
There's something about my answer intuitively that wants to say, no, I don't believe it's just like a social thing or a social phenomenon or construct. I don't know, not divine command theory though, so I'm not sure.
So you can't ground it in anything, can you?
I guess not, no.
Yeah, because you just make them the up, don't you?
What do you ground it in?
Well, I ground it in God, but I have a different worldview than you. And when we're debating this, we're debating it from the prism of our worldview.
So basically, what I'm getting...
Man, the God thing's such a cop-out. I like it because it's like a strict set of rules that's been around for a long time. And you can be like, here it is. This is where I get my worldview. It's done all these good things. And that's why I believe in it and ground my worldview. Like it's perfectly logical. It makes sense. Anybody who thinks that people who ground their worldview in God is a crazy person is probably a crazy person, a real crazy person. But it's a big cop out when all you can say is just like the God thing. Like everybody else trying to create their own worldview out here, like communists and stuff like that. They've got to work back through all the little steps. I think Andrew might be different. He might have actually figured out, you know, over time why all the commandments are good in all the different ways, but I doubt it. I think the closest thing you could point to is like evolutionary capitalism. So like the exchange of good things happening is essentially just evolution happening, and as things that happen to be good happen, they tend to flourish. And you could follow the same principles as like the God thing, and you could probably cite as many past historical, you know, good things that's happened to humanity because of it. Obviously that's not communism, but I think that's like the closest thing. It's kind of like America in a nutshell. It's like we tested a bunch of things, and then like these 3 good things happened, and then out of these 3 things we thought this was the best one. It's like it's a scientific theory. What is that? Scientific method. Like if you lived by something like that, you could probably go back and give like lots of examples that aren't like God related, but like you could build a worldview around that, and it would be like the same value to me in my brain of of like logical consistency. But
from this discussion is that he's saying your rights or the rights that you believe in have to be grounded in something in order for them to, I guess, be fair in principle. That's what I'm getting from this. And he's saying he grounds his rights on Christianity or the Holy Bible. I think he's talking about the Holy Bible. And to answer his question, yes, rights are a social construct. And in the United States, rights, such as legal rights, are grounded in the laws. They're grounded in laws that we pass. They're grounded in the Constitution. And ethical and moral rights, if you're a Christian or whatever religion you support, are probably grounded in your religion. However, if you are not a Christian or you do not follow a specific religion, he's basically getting to the point of, if you don't have a guiding principle or a guiding doctrine, what are the rights that you support grounded in? Your ethical rights. They're not talking about legal rights. Like, what are they grounded in? And that's a pretty interesting question, but let's get into it.
Well, I, as the Christian,
the answer to that
might be
question
able
is
to grant
your preferences. That's most people's think they get their rights from their preferences. All done. Oh my God, my face feels so weird. Did you get numbed? Poor thing.
that there are rights. Why should I ever grant them to you, commie? You don't believe in them at all. From your view, if I take away all of your rights, we just made them the f up anyway.
I feel like it's a highly reductive way to characterize my arguments.
I'm sorry you feel that way, but how is it not the case that from your view, we just made them the f up, they're not grounded in anything, and if I take them away, how's that even immoral?
You conceive of these things and look at them through lenses that I just don't find useful, or I have not thought to do so.
From the Marxist lens?
They could be useful. No, I'm saying from a Marxist materialist lens, yes. But like, I mean, my general opinion on rights is that they're useless if you only have them de jure, but you don't actually have a way to enforce them. Or similarly, it is, I wouldn't say equally as futile, but it's also a precarious position to be in where you can enforce your rights, but you have not actually secured the legal protections and the de jure actually gotten them ensconced in writing in a constitution, etc.
But how is it not the weakest sand on earth to say that we need to enforce these rights that I just made the f up? Because they're not grounded in anything. I just made them up.
And you think that them being grounded in...
I would come home and we can play with this. I can only breathe out half my nose, and I'm worried I might die of suffocation and drown on my own spit. Well, more spit's good. More spit's good. Yeah, we definitely have to tilt your body so the spit came out onto me, because we don't want it going back the other way. That is a very, very good brain thought.
God
good
makes
brain.
It more
well,
superior?
I think that the only argument that you can give to men, the benevolency of the patriarchy, is the entire appeal from people with your worldview is to appeal to us and our view, who believe in rights because of God, and say to us, don't we deserve them too, even though we don't actually even share the view?
But not if I can't feel what I need to swallow. True.
To which I tell Christians, no, give them nothing, because they're appealing to your benevolence, and they should beg for you to be as benevolent as you are, because from their worldview, they have nothing to ground it in. Like you said, you have nothing to ground it in. You just made them up. Why should I believe them? Why should I believe that you have a right to do anything? You don't even believe you have a right to do anything.
Why should I believe in like divine command theory and that because God says it is, then it is?
That's the beautiful part of the argument. You don't. Because if we're operating off of your view,
but why should I?
I'm just gonna grant that it's false. Who cares? If we're both building it off of a house of sand, and I just made up divine command theory, and you just which, by the way, I don't believe in divine command theory, but if I did,
I'm sorry.
Okay, if I did.
So he's posing a very interesting point. He's saying that if your rights are not based.
Yeah. Okay. I'm even in those sex. Okay. If that's the case, I will come down and give you kisses and touches. And then after you leave, I will go do the things.
Off of something, then why should I believe them? Why should I follow them? And this is very interesting because if you follow, I'm speaking for Christianity, for example, you believe these rights come from God. So you don't believe that they're just randomly made up. You believe that there's from the Holy Father, the Holy Spirit, from Jesus Christ. You believe that they're from divinity. And because they're from divinity, you follow them because you believe your entire life's mission is to follow them. But if you don't have these type of, I guess, religious beliefs, then your rights are just made up, which is interesting. And not to necessarily disagree with him or to, be on her side or anything, but I'm just going to pose this. Majority of like legal rights are technically made up. I'm not saying that they're just randomly created though. Like they just didn't walk inside of a Congress and say, oh, let's randomly write this law. No, that's not what happened. Technically, they are made up. And a lot of things that we follow are man-made. But when it comes to...
I love. Okay.